Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure. Yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Thumbtack presents the ins and outs of caring for your home. Out, procrastination, putting it off, kicking the can down the road. In, plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out, carpet in the bathroom. Like, why? In, knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
This week, in Hartland, Maine, a surprise visit from family convinces a woman to make a trip to the police station and inform them that they need to start searching for body parts. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmy Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on another crazy, I don't even know what to call it, just crazy edition of Small Town Murder. We have a wild Valentine's Day adventure for you.
It's for the lovers.
It's for the lovers this week, exactly.
And Virginia.
Yeah, Small Town Murder and Virginia, both for lovers. Yeah. If you're not inside the United States, you have no idea. I doubt you get those commercials, but the rest of the United States gets those commercials. So anyway, if you haven't done it yet, quickly a little house cleaning. Please give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. It does help a lot. That purple icon. Why does it help? We have no idea.
Yeah.
We don't work for them, but
we can't call it.
We have no clue, but thank you for doing it because it does help a lot. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now. All sorts of merchandise, your Small Town Murder merchandise, your crime and sports merchandise.
Yeah.
If you have not listened to Crime and Sports, you're just missing out. It's not for us. We're telling you for your own good. Listen to Crime and Sports. You don't have to like sports.
Oh, Jesus, no.
God, no. It's almost better if you don't like sports.
You just have to like fuck ups.
You just have to like listening to us making fun of someone who's really destroyed their life and didn't have to.
No,
that's the thing. They went out of their way to mess it up. So that's what's fun about it. So check that out. Also check out P.S. I Hate This Movie, where I get to make fun of bad romantic comedies that I'm forced to watch. So there's that and everything like that. And if you have not done it yet, also, you want to get on Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
Our Patreon is cooking as always. We have all sorts of stuff. Our last Patreon episode, we hope you enjoyed, was the Love After Lockup Season 3 review of that, which is... I just wanted to do a whole season on Love After Lockup.
I can't stop.
I want to not stop talking about that forever. So that was so much fun.
I just want fuck editing it. Just show it for what it is. I don't need the editing. Just live stream it, and I'll watch.
So great. That's what I mean. I don't care. 24/7. Just I'll watch them sleep.
What's cameras happening on these fucking weirdos?
Someone gonna stab somebody. Someone's gonna stab somebody. I don't know. And our next Patreon, also a lot of fun, is going to be Old West murders.
Oh, terrific.
So, we're going to go, and it's going to be like 1870s, 1880s. There's a couple of little Wyatt Earp things.
Oh, terrific.
The James Gang thrown in there, and then just a bunch of wild, crazy things that happened in the 1800s. So that's a lot of fun. We talk about Tombstone and things like that a lot. So
right up my alley.
People are interested. That is patreon.com/crime and sports to get all of that and more. Lots of good stuff. You get the whole back catalog.
Yeah.
You want to be on Patreon. That's where the action is. Patreon.com/crime and sports. Plus, you're going to be a producer, so you get a shout out at the end of the show.
Oh, sure.
Oh, boy. Jimmy will mispronounce your name. It'll be fantastic. And if you just want to have good karma and be a producer as well and have your name mispronounced, you can do that at PayPal also using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com.
Yes.
That said, I think it's time for the disclaimer.
Let's do it.
It's a comedy show.
Yeah.
It's a comedy. There's murder. Yes. Horrible murder.
It's terrible.
Every time. That's what makes the show interesting. But on top of that, we're not being gratuitous about it. That's the thing. We're not celebrating how hilarious it is for someone to be murdered and dismembered. That's not what's going on here. It's all the crazy stuff that leads up to it.
Shit, yeah.
Small towns we make fun. I mean, who's not from a small town? Everybody's from somewhere that sucks. So we make fun of that. We make fun of murderers.
Sure.
Because they deserve it.
Absolutely.
So, that's how this goes. We go out of our way not to make fun of the victims or the victims' families because we're assholes.
What?
But we're not scumbags.
There you have it.
That's how it works. I think it's a nice balance. And if you don't think so, if you don't think that comedy should ever be with true crime, then maybe this isn't for you.
Jump out the car, tuck and roll.
That's it. But for everybody else that wants to have a good time, I think it's time to sit back and shut up and give me murder. Let's do this, Jimmy. We got into that one.
Yeah.
Let's go on a trip, shall we?
I'd love that.
Let's do it. We are going this week. We're heading up to the Northeast, as far northeast as you can go in the States here. We're going to Maine.
King country.
It's been so long.
Yeah.
It's beautiful up there.
It is.
Maine. It's nice place. We're going to Hartland, Maine.
Okay.
If you're going to pick a place that's not great, it's going to be this area.
Oh, really?
In Maine. Yeah. This is like a south central Maine.
Oh.
Not on the coast or anything like that. No, nothing like that.
Why would you?
That's the thing, Jimmy. And this place doesn't sound as you picture Maine. You're like, oh, that's so quaint and nice. And
lighthouses, black rock beaches.
You hear about this and you go, oh, that sounds like a lot of the rest of the country. That doesn't sound wonderful at all. Why would you go all the way up there and freeze for that? Doesn't make sense. So it's an hour and 40 to Portland, Maine. Okay. About 45 minutes over to Bangor.
Okay.
Oh, baby. And about 2 hours to Newry, Maine, which was our last Maine episode.
Really?
Which was episode 125. June 26, 2019.
My fuck.
Which was just... I don't know,
year and a half
20 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
In 2020 time, 2021 time. So this is in Somerset County. It's a big town in terms of square mileage, but there's a lot of kind of big plots of land and things.
Oh, sure.
43 square miles. Pretty large here. History of this town. They have a couple of explanations of the town of where the name came from. I always like to try to figure out where the hell is, because sometimes it got like bastardized from some other name, and they just didn't care, which is always fun when that happens. So I like to find out.
Yeah, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
Say it how you want.
They named it after somebody terrible. It was like, he ran a tavern and killed 7 prostitutes and was convicted murderer, but he was freed by his buddy who was the lieutenant governor and some weird thing like that. And they'll be like, so they named the town after him. What? That's a strange thing. So 2 explanations have been advanced here. One says that the Old English word for deer, which would be hart, means Hartland, like it's land of the deer, is what they're saying. Another is that the community is located in the heart of the hills. Those are the 2.
The Old English word for deer, which is an English word.
Yes.
What the fuck are they talking about?
H-A-R-T, heart, which is deer.
What?
I don't know what they're talking about.
What are they doing?
I'm sure there's something to that, though someone's going to tweet at us and say that. We don't know.
That doesn't make any sense.
Not at all. To us, that makes no sense. I'm sure it makes perfect linguistic sense to someone who's been to school for these things.
In England.
Or anywhere, really, because with us, it's nothing. So we have no education on this matter whatsoever. This first settled in about 1800, which is late.
Yeah.
That's late. That means that the good stuff was taken.
Right.
By 1800, the Northeast was pretty much
it was
the
very
coast.
Well defined, yeah.
The people knew about it. Yeah. This was like, well, I guess there's stuff over there that nobody wants, so we'll go inland.
If they got here in whenever early in the year, like January, February, when did they land at Plymouth Rock?
I don't remember the exact month.
I'm just thinking, like, if you get to Maine and you're on the coast and it's cold and you get in 20, 30 miles, you probably go, fuck it. There's nothing else.
There's nothing here.
We've seen the good stuff.
This is it. Yeah, because it gets pretty barren out there.
Oh, boy, does it.
Maine, it gets, Maine is not.
just woods, babe.
That's all it is, yeah. Maine is a coast and then Canada.
Right.
That's what it is, basically. It's a coast, and then it's Nova Scotia from there. Enjoy Newfoundland, America. Newfoundland states here. So it's first settled 1800 by James Fuller, and that's the guy's name. Okay. I don't know. The community had a tavern by 1811. They got that going right away.
Of course.
Right away. Well,
too cold.
This place is terrible. We need to drink here.
Cold as shit, and I need something warm.
Who's going to sell us booze?
Yeah.
You? All right, good. It was known as the Hartland House. The area was settled in 1800. That's when people started coming. It was first incorporated as Warrentown in 1820, and then it changed its name for some reason. Who the hell knows why? The area didn't get a library until 1903.
Okay.
So they had a tavern in 1811 and didn't choose to bring books into this scenario for another 100 years, basically. We have booze, I mean.
Is it just populated by a bunch of Whismans? It sounds like us.
I'm going to read the booze label. That's enough reading for now. That's good.
I'm exhausted.
Yep. They didn't even give it a library. That was just when they got books, and they just put it in the town hall. They just put books in the town hall. From 1935 to 1990, the library collection, because it's just this roving collection of books, can be found in a building that now houses a tannery outlet. They didn't even give it its own library. Finally, 1991, I guess they gave it like a permanent, well, keep the books. We're going to keep them here.
Took till 91.
It's been 90 years.
1991. That's unbelievable.
We got a tavern, and it took 100 years for us to get books. And then it took another 90 years for us to figure out where we're going to keep the books permanently. So
they got booze, and then we're too distracted until Michael Jordan was a champion.
That's it.
To put books in a building.
Books in a building. Isn't that amazing? We shall not house the books until Will Smith has his own television show. Until the Fresh Prince heads westward, we shall not. We shan't house the books.
From buckles on shoes to a taxi cab ride across America.
That's
unbelievable.
That's an expensive taxi ride. That's all I could ever think when I saw that. I'm like, good God, a taxi? Is that the most efficient way of travel you can think of, Will? Even a train.
Yeah.
Something.
If you could afford to take a cab from Philly to L.A.,
class.
You could have been fine.
You could have got a private jet. It's expensive.
Probably could have moved out of the hood in Philly.
I mean, I assume that it was picked up on the other end by the Beverly Hills family.
I would hope so.
You pay your tab.
They've got a butler.
That's what I mean. I figured they were picking up the tab. That's why they set him in a cab. I pictured the mother like, they want to be fancy out there, then fine.
Yeah.
I'll send them out there in a cab and they can pay for it. Take that. I figured that was the mom's point of view. Like,
they live in Bel Air. They'll be fine.
Think you're so big and fancy?
They'll take care of it.
You can afford a 3,000-mile cab ride. Enjoy. No library. So wool mills began operating in 1862 when they made the blue material for soldiers' uniforms.
Oh.
So it was just Union pumping out blue wool.
Brilliant.
Yeah, not bad. The tannery, owned by Irving Tanning Company, has been there forever. So there you go. And it was it's now where the library was.
Okay.
So instead of that, they're like, let's have animal shit in here. Weird.
Making saddles.
Found some reviews of this town. Once again, I must give a review disclaimer. These are not our reviews. These are what others have said.
This is not our opinion.
And posted.
Never been there.
What we're doing is reading them. So it's this is the equivalent of somebody reading a score of the football game.
Right.
And if your team didn't win, you shouldn't be mad at the person who told you the score.
Right.
Be mad at your quarterback. So that's what we're saying here. Reviews of this town, 3 stars for this. They're all pretty decent. Hartford is a small town.
Hartland,
Hartford.
Yeah.
Heartland is a small town with access to stores and community resources with friendly townspeople.
Okay.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
It houses about 1,800 townsfolk. So there's townspeople, townfolk. What year is this? Right. I feel like this is like the land behind Mr. Rogers where the king pops out. What the hell is going on here? And he's even has a tannery to tan the hides into leather. Thank you for making that clear as well.
Is that what they do?
Jeez, this person sounds like a nightmare, don't they? This is a person that gives a Yelp review but no opinion. Just, I went there and I ate that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I went there.
Great.
We arrived at this time.
It was my
ladies ordered this.
My husband got a promotion that day, and we decided that it was,
Thanks for including this.
My wife was very excited with her business launch, so we decided to go to the, and then there's no, just this is what we ate. Yeah. Thanks. No conclusion.
Had a burger.
The town does slow down around 8 p.m., and for those that like the quiet nightlife, this is the place.
Wait. What's a quiet nightlife?
I don't. That's what I mean. I think they mean like a nice quiet, like at home. Quiet, but nightlife
in my house.
Yeah, nightlife is a specific term.
It is.
That person's a nightmare.
They don't get it.
They don't get anything. 3 stars. Heartland has its ups and downs, its advantages and disadvantages, and its pros and cons.
Yeah.
Thanks for the...
You mean like everywhere?
Bowl full of cliches. That was great.
And way to go out on a limb, you fucking jerk.
Really, right? But I have lived in this town for years, and I'm always thinking of my safety, but also I don't know where else I'd rather live.
I don't like this guy.
This person, if you saw the way it's written too, it's a nightmare. There's no, I don't trust the schools here. 1 star is this one now. Now we're into the negative.
Okay.
Those were the positive ones, by the way. That was the best they have to offer.
Some bad.
Here's one. Lots of drugs.
All right.
Lots of stealing. Lots of rats.
Wow.
Do they mean literal
Animals?
rats,
Yeah.
or is this like some mob guy going, there's lots of rats in this town. They're all a bunch of rats, I tell you.
Too many drugs, too much stealing.
Too much drugs. They're all, turns their mind to mush. They're a bunch of rats. These fucking bums in this town, a bunch of rats.
Yeah.
No gas station. Very untrustworthy people.
Okay.
These are all sentences, by the way. Lots of drugs, lots of stealing, lots of rats, no gas station, very untrustworthy people. It's a good list.
I'd leave, but if you go back to a couple sentences ago where there's no gas station.
That's the thing. I'm stuck. Lots of untrustworthy people. 1 restaurant with pretty bad food, but it's an absolutely amazing place to become a drug dealer or user. Amazing. It's a wonderland for that. It's a wonderland for dealing or using.
That is, I hope that they get a job somewhere just reviewing shit, because that was terrific.
That's a good, it's very succinct.
Yeah.
I enjoy that a lot. They should definitely do the Chamber of Commerce work for this town, I believe. Here we go. 1 star, again, would like to see those whom use substances get help instead of being on the streets at night screaming and causing people to wake up. Very specific issue.
Yeah.
People scream outside this person's house, and that's their and for them, that's the whole world. But everyone else is like, what? Just because Bob is outside their house screaming, there's one guy, there's 1,800 people, so there's not a lot of screamers, I imagine. There's one guy screaming, and they happen to be outside this guy's house. This is why these reviews are hilarious. They're so personal.
Maybe get some double pane windows.
Yeah, something. It's just shut up! So, I don't know. Try that for a minute. That works sometimes.
Stop opening your window and screaming, "Get some help."
Yeah, there you go. Someone help Bob. Many people do not like to stay away from home for fear their home will be broken into.
Oh.
Good Lord, this sounds like...
You can't even leave.
There's rats, no gas stations, can't trust anybody, one restaurant, and the food sucks, and it shuts down at 8 o'clock anyway, so who cares? And don't go out to the restaurant anyway.
Yeah.
Number one, because the food's bad, but number two, while you're gone, people will pillage your house.
All your shit disappears.
This sounds like a nightmare.
You go out the front, they come in the back.
What a terrible place. If you
start looting.
If you just went on those 4 reviews, you'd go, this place is awful and I never want to go here.
Or I want to go and watch.
Yeah.
This sounds awesome to see.
Like a drone camera above the town. Let's just watch this guy screaming.
Yeah.
They just went to the store quick, so a bunch of marauding group of crackheads are stealing their shit. I don't know what's happening.
Somebody Truman Show Hartland. It sounds great.
This place is a nightmare. They've had pretty much the same amount of people almost since 1900.
Really?
Not much changes around these parts, put it that way. It's not a lot of change going on from what it sounds like. Current population, 1,676 people.
Tiny,
down about 7% since 1990. So people are trickling away quickly. And more males than females by a long shot, which is there's like 54% male, which is very strange because the median age is 48, which is a lot higher than regular.
Yeah.
So usually when it's all older people, you get way more females.
Sure.
I don't know what's happening in this town, but
maybe the ladies are the ones that are leaving.
The women die first, or they had first dibs at the gas. I don't know what happened. The rest of the stats are pretty similar. Married is 50-50, which is pretty normal. Nothing out of whack there. Race of this town it's quite Maine.
Yeah.
98.5% white.
Really?
So pretty white.
That's may as well be 100.
That's very white. Well, 0.0% black.
Yeah, it's not that.
No black people. 0.0% Asian.
What?
0.9% Native American. 0.4% Hispanic. 0.4.
Fascinating.
And 0.2% 2 or more races.
Okay.
So it is white.
Holy shit, white.
This is very white.
Yeah.
It's a very white town. Not sure. I couldn't find the religion in here. It was weird. It was like this town was hard to find stats on. They're hiding in this place.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. They're hiding because, well, obviously they can't leave. If someone knocks on the door to ask them a question, they're like, "Don't answer it." Good God, they're going to steal everything. Jesus, it's just Bob yelling again. Don't answer it.
It's the census man. They want stats.
I don't know.
Fuck that podcast guy. We're not giving them shit.
They're getting nothing. Hide. Who knows who's behind them? Median household income here, though, it's usually about $57,000 in the rest of the country. Here, $31,331. So pretty low for household income. Cost of living isn't that bad here, though. 100 is average, regular. And as we know, like toward the coast, Maine is very expensive.
It gets there.
But
surprise, I mean,
it's not that bad.
No,
it's
for a coast.
It's prohibitively cold there. Summer on the Maine coast is like, ooh, it's going to warm up to 58 today. It's not.
It's not swimming one.
No.
Even if you got in the ocean, which I have there. What the fuck is
bad.
that water?
It's like
it's just needles.
It's like windbreaker summer. Yeah. That's you wear a jacket in the summer type of
August
thing.
in Maine is still painful water.
It's cold.
It hurts.
It's cold. So
it's great.
It's tough. So the overall cost of living is 76.1 here. So that's pretty under the 100. Housing though is very low. 34.7 for housing.
Really?
Yeah. Median home cost $80,300.
Oh, but
it's cheap.
What are these homes,
Well,
James?
let's find out.
I'm so curious.
More than half the houses are worth less than $100,000. So
what?
That says a lot right there. If we've convinced you, obviously, what else are you going to do with yourself than come here?
I am riveted.
We have for you the Hartland, Maine Real Estate Report. Average 2-bedroom rental here is about $856 a month, which is less than the average.
Houses are $100,000.
Buy a house.
Yeah.
I found, and here we go. I found a 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
Yeah.
1,456 square feet.
Doable.
The house isn't great. I mean, it needs some updating and shit like that, but it's livable. You can live in it. It's decent, and it's on 13.2 acres.
Holy shit!
Shitload of land. $64,900.
Get the fuck out of here.
1,500 square. I mean, you could remodel
Why would
that.
you rent?
13
That's
acres.
unbelievable.
You could build another house behind you. Who knows? I found a 5-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,500 square foot.
Yeah.
Not run down. Very nice. This amazing, huge, beautiful porch that runs all the way in front and curves around, and it's gorgeous, this porch. Amazing. $164,900.
5 bedrooms.
5 bedrooms. It's on over an acre.
Wow.
This is great. And then I found a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's only 1,072 square feet. The house is okay, but it's on 9.22 acres, and it's got like this big front yard, and where like the street would be is instead water, because you're right on a lake. So it's that's where you are.
It's rad.
Yeah, like you just go right out in there. You can go right out in your yard and there's a lake. You can get your boat launch.
Pull your walleye out.
It's ridiculous. Great. Yeah, $599,900 for that. But I mean, you got 9 acres and it's location. You got water. You could have a resort. You could make a resort there if you wanted to. Like it's gorgeous. Things to do in this wonderful, wonderful place. I found there's not a lot to do.
No.
I found there's a Maine Academy of Country Music.
What?
That I found.
Seems very
It's really specific.
Right.
Maine Academy of Country Music.
Is there country music in Maine?
I mean, it's hicky up there, I guess, but I mean, it's not that. It's not country.
It's not that hick.
It's more like folky, flannel shirt and a lobster roll kind of a.
It's not a Luke Bryan. No, it's not a Nashville or South Carolina country.
I don't see dust anywhere.
No.
It's not a dusty type of country.
No, it's moist and cold.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And I mean, where it is, too, this is, I don't know if this even took place, but it was on March 22nd, 2020. It was called the Cabin Fever Show, and it was at the Irving Tanning Community Center.
Okay.
So apparently there's a community center built around the tannery.
They're jacked about that.
Very strange. It's like, is this Deadwood? Where are we? And it's, there's that. So I don't even know what the hell happened. Somerset County Jam Fest is another one. Outdoor music festivals with several bands performing across 3 days at spacious Freedom Field. Wow, great. The festival features guest speakers, open mics between performances.
Nope.
And a bouncy house. So, if you are looking for the most irritating place to go in the world, it would be open mics with bouncy houses in the background. There's also a horseshoe tournament, so don't worry about that. We got you covered there. And camping and bonfires as well. Oh, boy.
This is why they like country music, because they like to do country things.
They like to go outside. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't mean
they like doing the shit that's in country music, in the songs, in the lyrics.
If you go outside, that doesn't mean you have to listen to shit music while you do it. I don't know why that's, and I'm not saying at all country shit. I don't like it, but
the vast
people seem to like it.
James, is.
That's how it hits my ear, but I don't know how other people seem to enjoy it.
I don't get it either.
You seem to like a lot of it.
I like a lot.
A specific type, I think.
It sure is.
For you here. Now, also there is, and this is, all of these like cold weather places have shit like this. The Somerset Snow Fest.
Okay.
I guess if it's going to be that cold for that long,
may as well embrace it.
You can't just go, well, we're not doing anything for 8 months out of the year. You got to go.
Can't beat them, join them kind of thing.
I guess we'll have a snow fest. I don't know.
You know, instead of being pissed about it, what if we smiled about it?
What if we just did it?
And then maybe it'll be fun.
Let's have like a festival about it.
Everybody else in the country seems to be really happy when it snows.
Yeah, except for us, because it snows constantly. So it's coordinated by, who cares? Somerset Snowfest is a celebration of all things winter. Yay. Activities including a box sled race, dog sled rides, skating, tubing, and the Northeast's only equestrian ski journing competition. What the fuck is that?
They put
equestrian ski journing?
They don't put skis on fucking
horses,
right?
Ski on a horse?
They don't do that, right?
I just pictured horses doing like cross-country skiing.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Are they making like real rocking horses?
That
like
can't be.
Welton skis? No.
Ski journing with a J.
That seems
one word. Ski joring. Not journing. Ski joring.
Do you have like the horse pull you on skis?
I maybe it runs.
How do you steer the horse from that?
Oh, I don't think you do. I think you're pretty much like you're water skiing. You're at the mercy of whoever's in control.
A fishing pole with like an apple on the end of it, and just leading the horse around.
It. I don't know if there's like a rein you can this way.
That sounds horrifying.
It says this is a not to be missed winter festival. I guess so, in the heart of the beautiful Kennebec River Valley. Wow. Okay, then. Crime rate in this town, what we're interested in, obviously. Property crime is actually a little bit under the average. So everyone's like, you can't even leave your house. Apparently, there's one bad street with screaming people and robberies, and the rest of it, it's pretty close to average. So, I don't know. Violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and, of course, assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, is it's under half of the average. So, it's pretty safe.
Incredibly safe.
Sounds like a little safe place, and everyone is complaining pretty hard about it. Like I said, they're very personal, those reviews. They're very personal, which I like to know people's beefs.
Yeah.
So that said, with this safe little town where you could buy acreage for $65,000, let's talk about a murder. A Valentine's Day murder. This is going to be wonderful. Didn't happen on Valentine's Day, but I feel it's a story that needs to be told on a holiday for lovers. I feel like, why not? Let's get into this here. Let's talk about a couple, a married couple. We'll go back to 1999 and catch up with this married couple, all right?
Yeah.
They're an older couple, actually. A little older than we usually cover, but they're active, let's just say, in terms of murder. So, why not? We're going to talk about Vella and Gene Gogan.
Yeah.
Vella is the lady, and Gene is the fella here. Gene is 62 years old in 1999, and Vella is 55 years old in 1999.
And they're a couple?
They're the married couple. They've been married for 37 years.
My word.
As of 1999.
He got himself a young one.
Yeah, she was right out of high school or, wherever. She was into adulthood. Right out of childhood is the better way to put it.
And he'd been through enough.
Exactly.
He was in his 30s.
He was he's 7 years older. So he was
7?
Yeah, he's 25.
In my head, I had like 17.
Yeah, 25 and 18, I think they were roughly when they got married. So
mostly because I'm terrible at math.
Well, math, and it's on the fly. You never know. And you're still trying to figure out what the hell ski joring is, I feel like. So do they put the ski right on the horse? Or do you have the skis? Which one is it?
Do they call it that because ski horse sounds too much like seahorse?
Ski joring, though. I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
Equestrian ski joring. And so obviously we're going to know this by the end of the show. Right. So please don't show us, this is ski joring.
It's more fun to just make it up as we go.
My sister ski jorn for...
She's a gold medalist.
You know what I mean? We're going to have here's pictures of it. We get it. People do it, but I don't know what it is now, and that's the problem. So Vella and Gene here, married 37 years. Now, Vella has had a tough upbringing. She did not come up easy. And a lot of times, when they got married was still in the times when you got ladies wanted to get married as quick as possible. In this, like the 60s, that was what they were told was, well, you got to be married by the time you're 20 or so. You're going to shrivel up.
Nobody will want you.
Nobody's going to want you anymore. They're going to think, what's wrong with you? Nobody else has you. So that was what it was. You're going to be an old maid. Well, better go to secretarial school. You're all dried up. What are you, 21?
You're going to be 25 and dusty.
Good Lord. Jesus. Yeah. So it's not. So, and when you think about it, too, she had a bad childhood, and a lot of times people who have bad childhoods will do anything to get out of it. And back in the day, the number one easiest thing to do to get out of your home if you were a young lady was to get married.
There it
is. Get the hell out of there, find somebody, and you're at least out of that house.
Right.
Problem is, if you come up in a shit house and you're leaving out of some sense of desperation to get out of it, a lot of times you don't end up with the best person.
Right.
Because your example has been terrible, and even subconsciously, you someone who seems nice, there's something bad in them that you can see somewhere subconsciously, and you end up with them. So
usually, it's just something about them makes them an option. For good or bad.
For good or bad. But
and then you run with it.
There's something that our brains do that attract us to things that are terrible just to repeat the patterns
also,
we have yet to figure out why, what benefit that is. Because your brain always does things to benefit you, and that's one thing that it does that has no benefit to you whatsoever. It's just horrible and painful.
Detrimental, and
it just, everybody's brain
There's also a point that in human, just what we do. It's inside us. It's in our makeup to want to get into a situation where you're an underdog just to be like, I'll show everybody. But 99% of the time it ends badly.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, like evolutionarily, why would your brain do that? Because your brain is developed over time to be better for you.
Right.
Like it blocks certain things out that are bad and blah, blah. But the thing of like, I'm going to seek out subconsciously the source of trauma and repeat it over and over again.
Is that in our chemical makeup or is that in our culture? It's got to be. It's
in your brain. Culture, you don't even know why you're doing it because you do it like subconsciously, and we've yet to figure out what the benefit of that of like what is. Why does your brain do that? Right. I'd love to know that. That's my number one psychological mystery. Is. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked, God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
What evolutionary purpose does this serve to make your brain better? I don't get it.
But then why do we love watching? Is it just because we love watching somebody that doesn't necessarily think they deserve it and win? You know what I mean? We just want to watch people win.
I suppose.
But we don't because we love making people lose on purpose.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
We love piling on somebody for one little mistake and ruining everything.
That happens a lot. Yeah, I don't know what the goal there is, but Vella came up in a tough household.
Yeah.
Her house was just full of violence. Sure. Her father was a violent alcoholic, very bad person.
Okay.
To put it this way, this is a story from her childhood. I'll give one anecdote that'll sum it all up, rather than just chronicle years of terribleness.
Sure.
Here's one incident that says it all.
Oh boy.
She's 11 years old. Okay, so
Embraced.
11-year-old girl is a vulnerable age, obviously, for anybody, and that's a tough time.
Biting down.
Well, her father was beating her mother unmercifully to the point of where Vella was scared that he was going to kill her. It was just an unmerciful beating, like sitting on her chest, beating the shit out of her.
Oh my God.
So Vella, at 11 years old, to try to save her mother's life, picked up a pistol.
Hell yeah.
From his nightstand and beat him over the head with it until she knocked him out.
Not and the option I was expecting.
The pistol broke into Beat him so hard she broke the pistol into pieces.
At 11?
Beat him until the pistol broke.
It's a strong 11-year-old.
Like Pesci and Goodfellas, like with Billy Bats. Like that's how.
Wow.
That's, you know what I mean? Imagine that scene. Imagine the horror of that scene for an 11-year-old girl.
Right.
Your mother being beaten to the point of, oh my God, is she going to get killed?
She needs someone to step in, and it's got to be a 11-year-old.
I better beat my father unconscious with a fucking pistol because that's all I can do, and I'll do it. Like, so that's harrowing right there. So that sums it all up. That's the only real tale we need to tell from her childhood to give you a really good insight.
It's pretty amazing as an 11-year-old to know. To get to that option too, where it's like you grab a gun and you're like, well, I can shoot this, or this thing's heavy as fuck.
I think that's what she said, and who knows if she's seen him pistol whip somebody before,
maybe,
or with the mother or something else. I mean, it's a big heavy metal object. She might have looked around and said, "What's heavy?"
Right,
that's heavy. I mean, shit. And if he turns around, I can always shoot him, I guess.
There's
that also.
If this doesn't work, there's another option with this thing.
Yeah. I mean, but also, I mean, that's the for an 11-year-old to have the strength to do that, though, she must have really summoned up some serious oomph behind her.
Dug deep.
You got to dig deep to beat a grown man unconscious as an 11-year-old girl,
Very
with anything.
clutch.
She's good in the clutch.
Yeah.
She's good in the clutch. And who knows
Mrs. October.
how drunk he was, too, I'm sure. And, you know,
good point.
That also helps, I'm sure. So, but still, very much a horrible childhood coming up. So
awful.
She meets Jean here at a young age and gets married and gets the hell out of that household. And probably never looked back, I would imagine, with that sort of thing. I mean, back then, too, that's kind of what you did. They got married in the early 60s, so it was just get the hell out of here and leave it all in a dust cloud behind us. So they over the years, they build a life together. They're an odd couple. Okay. They're odd birds, is the way kind of everybody puts it.
Personalities clash?
No, they're just kind of weird. They kind of stick to themselves.
Personalities get along.
They get along fine. Well, sort of, as we'll talk about. For a little while, they seem to the outside world. When they do everything together. They're always together. But they also have their problems internally that the neighbors do see because police show up. Generally, when the cops show up, people notice.
Yeah.
Cops pull up in front of someone's house in your neighborhood. Everybody looks out. What's going on down there? What's happening? Somebody going to get arrested? Is there?
My neighbor, when I moved in,
we all do that.
He goes, you got a wife or kids or anything? And I'm like, no, just kids that'll be here every other weekend. He's like, oh, good. Last people who lived here was a lot of DV. And I was like, DV. Oh, Jesus, what? He's like,
domestic violence?
Yeah. He's like, the cops were here all the time. I'm like, well, no, there will not be any of that.
Sorry to inconvenience you. I mean,
a lot of DV. What?
Hey.
It's a very odd way of saying it.
It's a very odd way of saying it. Like, they left all sorts of shit out in their yard. Like, that's what it sounded like. That's a fucking...
Unbelievable.
Wow. Very empathetic, sir. You're really a...
President of the HOA telling me that shit.
Very nice. Very empathetic. A lot of
DV.
That's nice. I mean, it was annoying. I had to shut my blinds. I really did.
So annoying.
Shut my blinds, put my earphones in, listen to an audiobook because I couldn't handle hearing.
Cop lights flicker. It's like a strobe. And on the back of your eyelids when you're trying to sleep, it's a real nightmare.
Wow. The
guy, real empathetic towards the lady that lived there. He's like,
that's what I
mean.
They
would just fucking get it together.
I mean, Jesus, keep it quiet. Good God. Thanks, jerks. Thanks. I'm going to not talk to you anymore. Appreciate you. You sound like an asshole.
See you at the meeting next month.
Wow. Avoid that. Can you imagine going to an HOA meeting?
No.
I wouldn't do that.
I don't want anything to do with that.
No. They stick together. They stay apart from people, the Gogans, which I appreciate that. I really do. I like your style.
Way to keep to yourself.
Gogans, keep to yourself. Don't get all involved in the HOA and everything like that. Vela, by the way, over the years, she makes a living here and there as a butcher's assistant.
Yeah.
So that's what she does. So, Vela will get down and dirty.
Sure.
She'll chop up a
Get our hands dirty.
Side of beef and, whatever. So that's handy to have around the house.
Absolutely.
Too, though, because you could get like big cuts and they know how to hook it up.
Yeah.
You could save a lot of money.
Take the meat off the bone and not lose a lot.
Oh,
that's nice.
Oh, yeah. There's certain things that butchers can do, make everything better. So that's good. It's good to have around the house. Tell you.
I don't like that ribbon of fat on the back of a New York strip. I'd rather it not be there. If you could do that and not lose it.
Thing is like,
I don't like
the
that.
fat part's good, but then the part attached to the fat, you're like, well, this isn't good at all.
This is no good.
This is bad.
I just paid $17 per weight for that.
Unlike the ribeye, which then the fat's attached to it. You don't have to cut that strip out.
However much that shit is, I just paid for that.
Yeah. What I'm saying here. So, over the years, though, there's been problems between Vella and Gene as well. The neighbors have talked about some reports of abuse here and there.
Okay.
And over 37 years, the police have been there quite a few times, which is bad, obviously. We're talking about 1999, and in the previous June of 1998, the sheriff's department was called to the house by Vella as like a protection thing to stand by while she gathered her shit and left.
Yep.
Basically, she said she was afraid that Gene wasn't going to let her leave and was going to hurt her while she was gathering her shit. She wanted to get out of there. So, sheriff's department had to come and wait, stand by.
Right.
She gathered her shit, which is good for her. It's better than dying in the house. So she gathered her shit and left, but she ended up going back because Gene has an illness. He has a heart condition and shit like that. So she ended up going back because he's ill.
Oh, no.
So that's what ended up happening. I don't know if she thought, well, I mean, he's older and sick now, so he's going to be not as physically aggressive. I don't know what her thought process was, or if it was just her pattern of abuse since you seek it out and you keep going back. And it's one of those things. Who knows? But I feel terrible that she didn't stay away. The records show that the Maine police and a Somerset County deputy were called to the home 4 times in the last couple of years.
Okay.
And so it's been 3 times with the sheriff's department, 1 time with the state police.
Yeah.
So it's been 4 times in a couple of years. That's a lot.
It's a bit much.
It's a lot of police interaction. It's a lot of DV, as your neighbor would say.
Every 6 months we got some DV. That's too much.
Too much. Any is too much, and every 6 months is way over the line here. So it's been, and these are one of these times it was actually Gene that called.
Oh.
Which was strange, because the other times it was Vella calling, obviously. So I don't know if that was Gene, like, preemptively calling because he knew, I hit her. She's going to call the cops. I better call the cops. I'm not sure what the...
If I get them here, they're on my side.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know if he thought that's what it was. Well, whoever calls him is right. I don't know if he thought that's what it was, like, which isn't. That's not the way it works at all. I mean, if you're abusive, you can't just call the cops. They come over. Well, I mean, he called, so he must have had a reason to hit you. Right. I don't think that's ever been said. I hope.
Well, he called, so he's got 2 points. Now your side.
That's what I mean. Let's hear it. That's not how this works at all.
Make a score and.
No, I don't think that's how it works.
Score wins. The other guy goes to jail.
Yeah, no. So he, she has told the cops too that she feels her life is in danger and things like that. But for some reason, there's never been an arrest out of this situation. Pretty much the cops, I don't know, because it's rural Maine in the 90s, but the cops would just show up and go, all right, you guys all right now? Okay. And then they leave, basically. It was no...
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, I don't know what... I guess I don't know if there was no, like, not enough violence for it. I think any violence is too much. So I don't know what the story... I meant for them to, like, step in. Like, it doesn't seem like...
It's pretty low for some Vella and Gene.
Doesn't seem worth a pair of handcuffs, I don't think. But maybe a stern talking to.
Yeah.
That's not how this should be going down at all. So either way, that's how it works. There's a neighbor named Margaret Dunn who sounds like everyone has a neighbor named Margaret Dunn, I feel like. Look through your neighborhood. Someone's named Margaret Dunn. She lives near the Gogans. She described them as, quote, neighborly.
Yep.
What does that...
Fuck.
What does neighborly mean?
Margaret, dig deeper.
Seriously, get a better adjective. What is neighborly? They were there and didn't... What? Didn't what? Kill your pets when they went out in the yard to shit? What did they do or not do?
Right.
What is neighborly?
They've got brown sugar on hand.
That's what exactly. That's neighborly. Just you wave at them. They're neighborly. Yeah, on the way from the house to the car, give you a little wave.
Yeah.
That's neighborly right there. So I don't know what it is. So They said they weren't her close friends, though. They weren't buddies. It was just they were, the
They're
neighbors.
cordial
that you see.
when I see them.
Yeah, everybody. When people live in the same neighborhood for 30 years, you give a little. There you go.
Yeah,
little.
There we are.
Stupid wave.
I acknowledge you.
Dennis,
there
always.
You are. Here I am.
And then there's me doing the Dennis and always sunny wave. It's more like a stiff arm. No, we're not doing this. It's not happening.
It's like
leave me be.
The gay disapproval. You know what I mean? Like you put your hand out and bobble your head. That's kind of you. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Nope. Sans the bobble. It's just
not happening.
It's the Heisman minus holding the ball.
It's a stiff arm. Car keys in one hand instead of football.
Yep.
It's car keys and a stiff arm. On my way to my car. Not looking at you, not talking to you.
Not happening, sir.
Leave me alone. Oh, God, I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that way that you see anybody out there like, they're going to see me and wave. Hi.
We have to talk now.
Hi. Yeah. Hello.
I see you.
Great. Yeah. Hi. There you are.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking
I can't
Christ.
get enough of it, though.
Oh, my God.
I love sometimes it's nice to talk to a neighbor just to know my life's better than yours, sir.
I guess.
Sometimes it reminds me it could be worse.
I get like Omega Man fantasies or whatever it is. Like, I am legend sitting there like, please, God, evaporate.
I got no grass. The guy next to me is out there seeding his lawn. I'm just like, it could be so much worse.
Look at you.
I could have a job to be doing right now.
Yeah, look at this.
I'm going to have to water some shit.
Yeah.
Nope.
I can't do it with these people.
Poor bastard.
My next door neighbors, for the 2 years I've lived here, this man has never gone inside.
It's always out there.
He's never gone inside. Have you ever come over and not seen him out there? He's always out there.
And sometimes he has somebody else out there with him.
Oh, absolutely. He's always in his garage sanding something. He has sanded and cut enough things where he could have built a house twice the size of his current home with the wood that he's used. There's no way that he's doing anything. He hates his family and he's hiding out there, and he buys wood to make sanding
sands it all into sawdust.
That way his wife opens the door and she hears machinery going off. She's like, he's busy in there doing something. He hates his family, and it's clear, and I want to tell him, kill yourself, please. I beg you. Or move away, get a divorce, do something, because I can't fucking look at you anymore in your driveway all the time.
He would have brand new cabinets if he didn't have knee-deep sawdust in his garage.
That's what I picture. He just takes wood and chops it into pieces and then sands it to nothing. That's what he's doing. He's keeping Home Depot going. When
are you coming to bed? This door's almost gone.
Oh, it's a lot. What are you building out there anyway? It's going to be beautiful. Don't worry about it. You've been building it for 12 years, honey. I don't understand.
I'm just going to fill the garage in sawdust and drown myself in it.
Never goes inside. So that's what I picture when I picture a neighbor waving. So anyway.
How are you? I hate me.
Hi. My life is miserable. Hello. So Margaret over here, she said they, quote, mainly kept to themselves, which is pretty clear.
In Maine, mainly.
Mainly.
Mainly keep to ourselves.
Mainly keep to ourselves. Mainers keeping to themselves. And they also, they keep to themselves except for the police interaction, which is obviously they have to talk to others. Sure. And Gene Gogan, the husband, would frequently walk up the road to visit with Dunn's husband and son. So Margaret didn't really hang out with Gene, but apparently, or with Vella, but apparently Gene walked around, was more kind of the more social of the two, talked to the husband and son. I mean, it's all a bunch of, this is very rural, this area. This is all like, there's like logging roads and shit here. So when you're talking about logging roads, that's rural shit. Yeah. So they're they're probably talking about hunting and fishing. Gene and Vella are both kind of avid hunters and fishers. Okay, fishermen and hunters. So who knows if they're talking about where the trout are biting, or who the hell knows what they're doing.
Where the herd's running.
I don't know. So anyway, they said that Gogan here, Vella had gone to a women's shelter 3 or 4 different times on her own.
Oh, that's bad.
In addition to this is not corresponding with the police coming either. This is in other times she just left and went to a woman's shelter.
Without a police call.
Exactly. Wow. So 3 or 4 times, but always returned because Jean's health was never good. And so she felt bad. And the neighbor said, quote, she really did love Jean.
Well,
so she always kept coming back, and there's no.
I mean, and granted, domestic violence is cyclical, where you have the honeymoon, the cool-off honeymoon period, all that shit. But this probably makes that cycle much more frequent because he could be pissed and then have like some heart event, and all of a sudden you're back into the healing.
It's exactly. It's not even that you don't run out the cycle. There's no, you don't even get. It's not a natural thing where this is like you artificially keep going back to it. And it seems to be like this is what they do. They've been together for 37 years. So whatever terrible pattern that's horrible that they need to get out of and that she needs to really run away from, they're stuck in it.
It's sped up because of this.
It's just this, it's a pattern. So, several neighbors just said the same thing. They're neighborly. They kept to themselves. We don't know. They said that another neighbor said that they had heard Gene threaten to kill his wife. This was outdoors this happened in front of neighbors that not only kill his wife but announced this is a guy losing it in the front yard. He was going to kill his wife, the family dog as well, and then burn the house down and then kill himself in the front yard.
Good Lord, man.
In the blaze of the fucking houses as it was burning,
sparing nobody.
All of our shit and the dog's corpses. I'll be out here and blow my brains out in the front yard. That's a scary proclamation.
Right.
Because that's not even a person that has any. This is a sick older guy, too, who the hell cares? He's at the end of his rope. I mean, that's something to take seriously.
More so, you got to think it to say it. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I mean.
I wouldn't get there.
And if he's abusive, that's something that you want to take seriously there. And it's wild. The one neighbor said, quote, she had tried to leave and had always come back. He was all she knew, and she, in a way, really depended on him, no matter how bad the abuse was. His abuse had become much worse over the past couple of years and had really escalated up in 1999. So it's gotten worse, and it seems like the sicker he gets, and this is what other people said too, the sicker he gets, the more abusive he is.
Yeah.
So I don't know if what the psychology of that is, if he feels weaker, so he feels like he needs to assert himself and dominance over this other person more.
Or frustration that it's not fixing and taking that out on her. There could be a million
There's
things.
A lot of things. Clearly, though, this is a guy who has figured out that his wife is an avenue and a vessel to take out his physical, his frustrations and his aggression physically upon. That seems to be the pattern. It's gotten worse as things have gotten worse for him. So, the other thing was, this was, one of the neighbors called him a man of an explosive nature who was prone to publicly exhibiting rage against her.
My word.
So that's,
a bad review.
It's a bad review. I would say as far as town reviews go, that would be a bad, if you heard that, you go, Jesus.
I don't want to be around that.
Publicly exhibiting rage. That sounds rough. And a publicly exhibiting rage, I would assume, you could classify screaming in the yard that you're going to kill her, the dog, burn the house down, and blow your brains out.
Right.
As the flames flicker skyward.
Right.
I mean, that's a crazy proclamation. I would say, that all of that explosive nature, prone to publicly exhibiting rage. True.
Yeah.
Check. I would say on that.
Boy, oh boy.
So it's weird. Now, October 3rd. 1999. Let's go specifically to that. October 3rd, 1999, her sister, Vella's sister, Carlene Pelletier, comes over the house. Unexpectedly stops by the house, which is extremely weird. They've seen each other about 4 times in the last 30 years.
Okay.
Literally. 4 times in 30 years, she just stops by the house.
Wild.
Just to say hi out of the blue, unannounced.
Okay.
She stops by on October 3rd, 1999. She stops by. Gene isn't home. And, they talk, and she says, where the hell is Gene anyway? What's going on here? And Vella says, he hasn't been home in a couple days.
Okay.
I don't know. He left. He's gone.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, how long has he been gone for? She's like, I don't know. He left on the 1st. So this is day 3 of him not being here. So she's like, well, that seems, are you concerned?
Yeah.
He just disappeared.
I know, I haven't been here but 4 times in 30 years. But is it weird that he hasn't been?
Is it normal for your husband to go missing and you're like, I don't know, he's gone for some days?
Is it weird that somebody that's been here 4 times in 30 years is here right now and he's not? Is that weird?
Is that strange? Right? Is that weird?
This week I've been in this house more than he has. Is that weird?
You know what? My gauge for weird is really, it's in a bad place right now. I'm not sure exactly what's weird anymore, so we're gonna need. Where's Margaret? Margaret, can you come over here from the neighbors?
Miss Dunn, come on over.
Please come over here and try and tell us what's strange because we've really lost our fucking minds. So yeah, the sister's like, well, should you look for him? Mm-hmm. Like. He's a 62-year-old man with a heart condition, and I mean, you're saying he went out and now he's not here. Right. He could be in the woods, dead somewhere. You should probably maybe look into this,
sure,
possibly. And Vella was like, I mean, I guess. Like for her, she's probably like, I hope so. I figured if I don't say anything, fingers crossed, maybe he just won't come home. I feel like is what Vella's trying to portray here. I mean, maybe.
Right now, it's just like a Memorial Day weekend, and I'm hoping that Tuesday doesn't come around. That's what I'm hoping for.
That's what it is. Yeah, like it's, let's extend this week. Maybe a snow day.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll snow.
If he comes home tomorrow, everything's fucked. So no.
Nope. So Carlene convinces Vella, you need to go to the police and report him missing. You can't just he can't just be gone for weeks. So how long are you going to let this go for?
Yeah.
Let's go to the police. And she's got to be thinking, how weird has my sister gotten?
Yeah.
I haven't seen her in years. I stopped by. Her husband's missing for days. And she's just like, I don't know. What the hell is happening? Maybe that's why I haven't been around this much in 30 years. This is crazy. So it's a strange scenario. They show up at the police station. Carlene's like, she'd like to tell you something.
Right.
It's, I don't know. It's her husband, I guess. And initially they didn't know. They were like, he just disappeared. She said he left on the 1st. Where'd he go? I don't know.
Yeah.
Where'd he say he was going to go? Didn't say.
Didn't ask.
It was just like, he just
care.
left.
Yeah.
And the police know who they are.
Sure.
They know the history, and they probably assume that Vella's probably happy he's gone and probably not real concerned with when he's coming home.
Right.
It's one of those things. So I feel like they're all like, they almost want to go, let's hope fingers crossed he stays gone, I think is what the cops were thinking for. So people, they always describe them as very private. A lot of the neighbors, though, too, and the police even that knew them said that they seemed to enjoy each other's company most of the time when they weren't having
knockdown, drag out fights.
When Jean wasn't chasing her around or whatever else, they enjoyed a lot of outdoor activities together. They hunted and fished together and did outdoor shit together.
Very cool.
Out in the woods and stuff. So they seemed to get along doing that, but then they'd come home and then the fucking state police would show up an hour later. So it's a weird thing. The one neighbor also at this point, because the cops, when they're looking for him, they go around, they ask the neighbors, you seen this guy at all?
Right.
And they described him, another neighbor, to the police as a reclusive and domineering man.
Oh.
Gene. So it's again, bad reviews. Gene's not getting a lot of good reviews.
He's not.
From friends, police, neighbors, and wives and in-laws.
He is a rotten tomato.
He doesn't seem wonderful. Yeah, he's definitely not the freshest right now. He's at about 8%. I would say he's doing bad. So they have their house is kind of a shitty little house. It's not a great house, but I mean, like we said, most of the houses here are worth under $100,000 now.
Yeah.
So it's not there are no extravagant mansions in Hartland. It's just not the way it works. So they go and they're looking into his disappearance. They put police tape around the house and everything because they're like, we got to check if he left a clue. Mm-hmm. Who knows? He just seems to have disappeared into thin air. It's about 5:00 on a Sunday is when they report him missing, and it starts from there. So it's a Sunday evening, so they can't really. You have limited time to start that night.
Yeah.
According to Vella, he was last seen Friday afternoon, and a neighbor saw him returning from hunting Friday afternoon, like walking back, and that's when they said they saw him last. Vella said she saw him when he left that morning. It's the last time she saw him, and the neighbor said they saw him kind of returning from hunting, but not at his house, but just near there, obviously on his way back from the hunting grounds,
right,
wherever the hell those are. So anyway, that's what's going on. He's reported missing. They're looking for him. By the way, it's on Athens Road and routes 43 and 151.
What?
I don't know where the hell that is, but if you're a local Maine person and you want to know the exact area this is.
It's a very bizarre description.
That's where it is, yeah. Home on the Athens Road, routes 43 and 151. Apparently that's like where the neighborhood is. It's near that crossroads. So, they come out, they look for him for a while, then they start coming out. They don't know what to do, so they bring out the mobile crime scene lab.
Wow.
Look around, try to see if there's a trace of him anywhere. Like, I feel like, too, they're bored, and they're like, we finally get to use this mobile crime. What is this thing? Hold on.
Mobile crime.
Take it out. Anybody got a box cutter? We got to take it out. It's wrapped in plastic still.
Let's open it.
They haven't even opened it. Oh, shit. These instructions are in, what is this, Swedish or some shit?
It came with a microscope.
Oh, for Christ's sake. That's cool. Let me see that.
Look
That's
at
pretty
this.
neat. Oh, let me look at this over here.
I'm going to take a slide in the bathroom and fill that up.
Is this German? What the hell? Goddamn. Well, there's a jizz microscope, so it's probably German, I guess. I don't know. Anybody speak German? That's
Have
what
a look
it is
and
here.
see if I can see my own swimmers.
Maybe I can. I'm gonna look at something gross. So they observed that there was a small pickup truck from that was still at the house there, which was kind of their car that they used. So he didn't take the car. That's something to look at. They looked all around. They said that, quote, we haven't located him. We're trying to get as many clues as possible to determine where he might be. As time goes by, we're growing more and more concerned about his welfare.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a guy with a heart condition, an older guy in the woods for days. Oh, that's what they think at this point, so who knows. So they said they couldn't be sure of his state of mind. Mm-hmm. They didn't know if... he's been a little flighty and he snaps sometimes, goes off the deep end. They don't know what he's about. Who knows what he's doing out there? So they said they had a helicopter in the air searching for him and all this. This is like immediately they start this because he's been gone for days. So, they mobilized like that. Yeah. And like I said, they were something to do. Let's do it.
To use this.
Finally, yeah.
We've got it all.
We've been waiting to search for somebody for so long. So we have dogs and everything, really.
Right.
They're trained. They're really just chomping at the bit. Look at him. Look at this poor puppy. He's got nothing to sniff.
We got a mobile crime scene lab.
It's cool.
Put it on the back of the ski horse.
I took it out. Hold on. Hook it up to the horse here. Put ski. Everybody secure the skis on that horse. That goddamn horse better have skis on it when I come back
those
here.
Will come off, and that lab's going to go against a goddamn tree.
Jesus Christ Almighty! So yeah, they're. So they said they're not ruling out a ground search too, but they're going to start with the air and see if they can spot him somewhere. They said it's not unusual to call in the mobile crime scene lab for a missing person just to get. Because they never know if, let's say, they were, kidnapped and killed or something. Sure. They want to know that ahead of time before. You might as well see if you can find a blood trail or something by their house. That way you would have a clue ahead of time. They said, quote, each case is different. We've called the crime lab into other similar situations. So, they talked to Margaret Dunn a little more. She tells them more about them keeping to themselves. They just kept to themselves. That's it.
They're very mainly.
That's how it works here. They took trips away from home a lot. They found out, the Gogans. So they went places mainly to hunt and fish in other places. Right. So they said, okay, maybe that's where maybe Gene went to one of the places they go and hunt and fish.
Yeah.
Who knows? But he didn't take his truck and he just disappeared without telling anybody. He didn't take a suitcase or anything. That's odd. He's often seen, from what they find, because they're trying to figure out, kind of piece together Gene's day.
Right.
It seems to be hunts and fishes, talks to the neighbors. Otherwise, he's seen walking along the Athens Road carrying a long stick.
That's just a thing he does?
That's what he does. All the neighbors said.
Guy.
You just see him walking, carrying a long stick.
I found a stick. I'm going to go for a walk.
I'm going to go for a walk now. I can't go for a walk till I find a stick.
You're not going to believe it. I found the nicest walking stick.
Oh, it's beautiful.
You want to take me a walk?
I'm going to walk it with it. So, that's what he does. Yep. It's an odd bird. Strange dude here.
Take a walk.
So they said, quote, this is what the neighbor said, quote, this is kind of troublesome, worrisome as time goes by. You wonder what's going on here.
Yeah.
Who knows? So now it turns into a massive search. And this is all while they're at the police station, talking. This is Carlene and Vella. Or what's her name? Carlene? Was that her name?
Is it Carlene?
The sister? Pelletier is the last name. I remember the goddamn last name, which is way more complicated.
It's a different.
So, he's missing. They searched all around the lake that's near there, and they searched pretty much everywhere. One of the police officers said he left his home under suspicious circumstances. We believe he may have met his demise.
Oh.
So now they're saying that it's, as time goes by, they're having a little bit of different view on the whole thing. They said, but we still hope to find him alive. Okay, well, good luck with that. They said, quote, we're not talking about anything. Once we find him, then we'll know more. Well, duh, obviously. Thanks, police officer. Yeah. We appreciate that.
We
wonderful.
Know more.
Yeah. Yeah. So Pelletieri, while they're in the police station, she talks to Vella a little bit more, and Vella starts to tell her some more about maybe she might know where Gene went.
Yeah.
And as she's doing this, she's going, okay, you got to tell the cops while you're here what's going on. So Vella ends up going, all right, here we go. Uh-huh. Here's what happened. First, she goes, she didn't want to tell the cops.
Really?
She goes, well, you just tell them. So Pelletieri here, the sister, Pelletier, she has to go to the cops and go, all right, my sister has to tell you something. Here's what she's going to tell you, basically, and she has to spill the beans of the whole thing. She tells the cops, quote, she carried her husband's body out of their house, placed the body in their pickup truck, and drove the body away and deposited it.
Yeah.
That's what she told them, okay? It's way more than that. Yeah. We'll just say that. But she gave them the long and short of the whole thing.
Oh,
here.
My.
So they were like, okay, yep. Is this really what happened? And so they asked Vella, is this what happened? And all she would say was, quote, it's true. That's it. She wouldn't give any other details. She was kind of shy about the whole thing.
It's about the
gist. So they find out a little bit more. We'll find out a little bit more here in a second. But based on what they found out from her, the next day, she's involuntarily committed to a hospital for some
psychiatric
some testing and things, because she does not sound right. We'll put it that way. She's got a couple of issues. And talking to her, it seems like they could tell there was something wrong with her. As we'll find out as time goes on, she's a little off. There's something a little bit off there. And like we said, she had a crazy hard life, so who knows what her life is like. And I don't feel like she's had a lot of therapy living in the woods with this asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't feel like she's overcome whatever she had. So she's committed for her own safety to the Augusta Mental Health Institute after her and her sister came in there. Let's go back to October 1st and find out what happened here. All right. Vella had been awake, and she didn't eat very much on the 1st of October. Mm-hmm. Nervous. She's got a nervous stomach, and it's because her husband's been kind of crazy the last couple days. She had been on also prescription sleeping pills normally and an antidepressant, both of which made her tired. The sleeping pills, obviously, but the antidepressant made her tired as well. But she stopped taking them the last few days. You can't just stop antidepressants cold turkey, first of all. That is not good.
And if you're you better know that you're about to have some shit.
You better do it with a doctor. Yeah. You better have a doctor do that shit with you and tell you what to expect, because
you're about to go through some stuff.
You're about to, it's not recommended that you do this shit at all. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. Yeah. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmy had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. Yeah. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody. Just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover. Yeah. Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing. No. They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently wherever your problem areas are. Tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's SONOBELLO.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
And also her prescription sleeping pills. So she stops them both right away. Doesn't want to take them.
She's affecting not only her nights, but not only her days, but her nights. Like this is pretty bad.
This is bad stuff. So she's been up. She's been up for a while now, for days. Basically,
really?
She's been up because, quote, she felt as if he would kill her if she fell asleep, is what she said. She thought Gene would kill her if she fell asleep, and she may have good reason for that as we go into this. Mm-hmm. So she's up for days, scared of Gene,
feeling everything,
boy. Yeah. So on the morning of the 1st, apparently they got in an argument, and Gene got violent with her that morning. He apparently lifted her up into the air so hard that she hit her head on the bottom of a cupboard that was there. So he picked her up and racked her head on a cupboard and hurt her pretty bad, I guess. And so she was obviously upset.
Sure.
Clearly, he abused her. Then a little while later, after he did that, he stomped around angrily, apparently, and was still pissed at her. And then he told her, forced her, made her get into the truck at this point, and drove her to a remote area in Mayfield Township, which is about 20 miles away. Logging roads, shit like that. It's the woods. It's the middle of nowhere. So drove her out there to the woods and stopped, and basically said that he took her there with two loaded guns, is that he had in his possession, and he's in the truck, and he ordered her out of the truck. He told her to get out of the truck.
Yeah.
At that point, with 2 loaded guns in the woods, while he was mad at her and had violently assaulted her that morning. And he wasn't like, "Hey, we're going hunting. This is going to be fun." Mm-hmm. He was like, "Get in the truck." And then he's taking guns, and he's like, "Get out of the truck." So this sounds weird. She felt that if she got out of the truck, he was going to shoot her.
Eesh.
So she refused to get out of the truck. She said, "If you're going to shoot me, you're going to have to do it in your truck." So do that. Yeah, you're not going to shoot me in your truck, are you? You're
Smart.
I mean, it's less likely, I suppose. Yeah. So he ends up, she just straight refuses to get out of the truck, and he ends up saying fuck it and turning around and going home.
She's not worth cleaning the carpet.
I guess not. So, yeah, she refused. So time goes by. The rest of that day is very, very, very uncomfortable.
I'm sure.
You might imagine. Yeah. She is wide awake. She will not go to sleep. Gene, though, he falls asleep as time goes by that night. He falls asleep, and Vela says, okay, now's my chance. While he's asleep, she grabs a .22 caliber pistol that she has and shoots him in the left ear.
Okay.
The first shot does not kill him or incapacitate him. Doesn't penetrate the brain, obviously. So first shot right into his ear, bounces around. All it does is make him sit up and reach for a loaded .38 that he has next to the bed, which she should have used that if she wanted to do this
much easier one
correctly. He reaches for a .38. So before he can reach the .38, she says he shoots her. She says that she shoots him twice more in the ear on the right side of his head.
First shot.
Around his ear, right there. That's what she was aiming for, his ear. And he died from that. So 3 shots to the head killed him.
Good Lord.
So she killed him. He's dead. He's in bed, and he's dead. Dead in bed, which obviously this is a problem now. Now she doesn't. Mainly a big problem. Yeah. She doesn't know what to do here. She thinks about it for a minute, goes, holy shit. I mean, 37 years, and, it's been a lot of tough times the last few years and all this, and here he is bleeding out in the bed. Like, oh, fuck. This is the end of it. So she says, well, what are you going to do? She drags him to the truck and deposits him about 20 miles away. Where? Mayfield Township.
Oh, right. He was going to get her.
He took her.
Yeah.
Now, you might think she's a small woman, small enough to be lifted up violently by a 62-year-old man with a heart condition.
Yeah.
Small enough to be lifted up violently to have her head racked into a cupboard. How'd
she move that?
How is she going to move a guy that much bigger than her, who's big enough to shove her up like that and
literally
abuse her for
dead
years?
weight?
Well, the thing is about dead weight, if you're going to carry a person, it's very, very heavy. The way to make them a lot lighter is to chop them into many pieces.
Many hands make light work.
And it's a lot easier if you've been a butcher's assistant for a long way.
Oh, Jesus.
And you know exactly how to butcher, say, a large mammal.
Holy shit.
So she
took him apart.
She takes him apart. She takes him apart, cuts him into 17 pieces.
My God.
This is like the mob would love to hire her. She could have worked for the Gambino family in the 70s. Hands.
Yep.
I mean,
forearm, biceps,
legs, feet.
She took it all
thighs.
down like
she
one little piggy, 2 little piggy.
Like she was going to sell them for parts. Like you would break an animal down.
17 of them.
Wherever there's joints, she broke it down. Wherever there's big joints is where she chopped it and did it, head, everything. I mean, she cut them into 17 fucking pieces. And that way they were movable pieces for her. So she could move them. She did this. She cut him up. I mean, the butcher thing is going to be it's just because she butchered him just like he was.
Wow.
Just like she had an animal that needed to be parted out. Just where are the joints? Chop, chop, chop.
So you're whistling while she does it.
Yeah, I could picture her with like her iPhone.
Yeah.
Little AirPods in.
She's got the new dancing. Cardi B playing.
Yeah, she's dancing. I picture like in Drop Dead Gorgeous, she's practicing her tap routine while she's doing the makeup on the dead person. But yeah, this is what she does. Wow, that's heavy.
Yeah.
She just shot her husband and then dragged him out and butchered him into 17 pieces. That's
my God.
This is fucking wild, man. So she does that. She stuffs him into military duffel bags that they had, and then puts him in the truck, drives him into the woods, and then what she does here is really the remarkable part. If you can, I mean,
go on.
There's been quite a few crazy things so far that's been happening.
It's pretty impressive so far.
This here kind of takes the cake. She hides him really well.
What?
She hides him. First of all, it's 17 pieces.
Yeah.
She goes out there and hand digs 17 holes. Okay.
What?
Hand digs. With her fucking hands.
Like clawing at the ground.
Digs holes, puts the parts in there, because it's 17 different parts.
17 holes.
Scatters them all around, and really covers them well.
Yeah.
Covers them back up, puts leaves on. Like you can't fucking tell that there's anything there because it's not a big, giant, disturbed hole. She does little holes, so you can't even tell.
Didn't even find just like a rotten stump and throw bags in it?
Not even. I mean, she'd hand-buried 17 different parts all over the woods, which is a pretty large area, too. Not like
staggering. Not
like all right next to each other. She took them, I'm going to do 20 paces here in between fucking hands.
Wow.
It's crazy. It will be, the police would later call it being brutally hacked apart, which, I mean, tomato, tomato, I guess. So he was placed in these holes scattered all over the woods, and the cops searched for 6 days. They can't find him out there, even though she told him where he was.
Yeah.
That's how well she hit him.
Unbelievable.
It's wild. So first they said that his head and torso were found first, I guess. And then eventually 15 of 17 of the parts were located. The only things that weren't located were his thighs have never been found.
Both of them.
Both the thighs. So somewhere.
She does a good job hiding thighs.
Yeah. Some good thigh hider. So somewhere in the woods of Mayfield Township, there is definitely 2 buried thighs out there. Somewhere in these woods. Absolutely 2 buried thighs. 100% certainty that that's a fact. So they go through the house. They found nearly a dozen firearms from the house. They were hunters. They lived in a rural area here. And but the 22 she used to kill him and the butchering utensils she used never were found.
They never found.
She ditched them and never said where they were.
They're with the thighs.
She wouldn't tell him where they were. She wouldn't tell him where all that stuff was. So the police said that it, quote, substantial effort had been taken by Mrs. Gogan to clean up the mess that this event created in the family home. As you could imagine, first of all, you shot a guy in the head 3 times in your bedroom.
Yeah.
That's a lot of blood.
That'll leave some,
He's bleeding out. That's a shitload of blood coming out. So there's that to clean up. And then you butchered a human being into 17 pieces. That's messy.
Even more blood.
That's a lot of blood. Yeah. This is all a very messy thing.
The blood keeps getting to be more.
Yeah, which I assume they probably had an area where they would butcher out animals, I bet.
Probably.
If they were avid hunters. So
mainly
avid hunters. You never know. So 2 days later here, like we said, it's crazy that this is the only time the sister's only seen her 4 times in 30 years. She probably hasn't seen her in 10 years. She stops by unannounced. Where's your husband? Oh, my.
Out of the blue. Oh, my God, you're a fresh murderer.
Wow. What are the odds? And what if the sister didn't stop by? She would have never reported it.
Who knows how long it would have taken?
Yes, I mean, for his family to eventually go, I haven't heard from Gene in a long time. Like, it's Christmas. Still haven't heard from Gene. Isn't that weird? I mean, when would they eventually? Who knows? At the station, once they're there, she says that Mrs. Pelletier, the Woods, the sister says, yeah, sister's got something to tell you. He's in the woods. They listen. At that point, they Mirandize. She's a suspect for something, so they Mirandize Vela. And Vela says that she didn't want to answer any questions. And the police said, well, I mean, if we're going to look for him, we kind of have to know that he's dead. And I kind of have to hear that from you. And that's when she said it's true. So then they got requested assistance from the Maine police. That's when the whole thing happened. And the sister wrote out a big handwritten affidavit telling exactly what Vela had told her.
Sure.
Because Vela didn't tell him about the butchering and all that. This is the sister had to she spoke through her sister, basically. Pull it out of her, yeah. So by at 10 a.m. on the 4th, here's a little legal thing that happened. 10 a.m. on the 4th, they were searching the Gogan property. Mm-hmm. Detective Mitchell met with a Sergeant Drake at the Gogan property. He handed over all the paperwork, and Detective Mitchell realized that he didn't have a warrant, which is a problem, obviously, if you're going to search something. He was convinced that he did receive a signed warrant from whoever, but he said that, I know I have it, so he started searching for it. On October 5th, Detective Mitchell obtained information from one of the searching officers that caused him to believe that Mrs. Gogan used black plastic garbage bags to put him in before she put him in the military bags. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you don't want him to leak all over everything. So based upon that, he prepared a set of documents to get a second search warrant. So Detective Mitchell went with to, I think, the Attorney General's office on October 5th, 99, with a second set of documents where he did an affidavit and all that sort of shit, and got another warrant. Now, the attorney at that point said that, he had probable cause and all this sort of shit. With the detective mentioned the missing warrant, and the attorney said, I never signed a warrant for that. So they've been searching the house for a day and a half with no warrant.
What?
They thought they had a warrant, but they just lost the paper warrant. But it was, legally whatever.
Yeah.
Turns out they never got a warrant. So they've been searching the house illegally for a day and a half, basically.
Oh, no.
With no warrant. So at some point, the detective finally determined that he never received a warrant and was initiated ever. So on October 7th, he resubmitted documents that he prepared on the 3rd for the original warrant.
Okay.
And then finally got another warrant, and then they finished searching the house, and they got a bunch of shit. But that was the thing, is they searched it. They were there for a couple of days searching everything with no warrant.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, which is obviously a problem.
Can't do that.
No, that's an issue. You got to get your
ducks in a row, sir. Yeah.
Cross your T's, dot your I's, do your shit. So October 6th, 1999, 3 days into it, they amend their investigation to say that he's not a missing person anymore, that they say he has met his demise.
Okay.
As a matter, that's how they quoted it in the paper, met his demise. So then now it comes out that there was domestic violence before. The last time the sheriff's department was there was in June. Mm-hmm. So it's hasn't been that long. There's been a lot. They did all the helicopter search. They're still searching for his body parts. They can't find him. Originally, they just found the head and the torso at first and went from there. So they end up on October 8th is when they find him everywhere. Like we said, remote area in Mayfield Township, more than 20 miles from the home. And the way they find him is Vela tells them where he is. They still can't find him.
Really?
They go out there. She hit him very, very well, and it's the woods, so it's not like it's landmarks everywhere and things to know it's right here. So they can't find him. They have to bring in the dogs.
Oh boy!
So they know the area, so they have to bring in dogs.
Yeah.
The guy who ran the cadaver dog, the officer who had the cadaver dog in this particular case, wrote a book about basically being a canine officer in the woods in Maine.
Okay.
And he talked about this case a lot. So I kind of got a piece of that from him, from how he found it, and then kind of how they do that too, because I think that's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
So he said, this guy says, I've been dealing with people who hide stuff my whole career. No shit.
Right.
And I've always been able to pick it out. But even to me, this scene was just amazing. I was out there with the state police. Think about that, first of all.
Fascinating way to describe it.
Even to me, like, all I do is find shit.
Right.
I literally have the dog that gets shit that you can't see.
That's my job.
My job.
This was amazing.
Mm-hmm. This one particularly interesting.
Amazing.
In print. He said, I was out there with the state police searching. The dog would hit. That was Reba. She was just so good, so reliable that I'd tell the detective who was with me, take a picture. And he would say, there's nothing there. And we'd take a stick and poke around, and there it would be. Mm-hmm. So the only way they could find it was the dog. He said, quote, I think we found everything but the hands that one night, the first night.
Yeah.
First night, they didn't find the hands. The first night, they said that we found 13 parts.
Wow.
And then the next day, they found the hands, and then they never found the thighs.
Unbelievable.
So that's how it worked here. He said it was getting dark. It was September, a clear night with a crisp fall air, and I was in the woods pulling out all these body parts. And I vividly remember the things that stick in your mind. At one point, I turned around, and the medical examiner was walking out of the woods with this human part in his hands. So he says it's a thigh, but it's not a thigh because they never found the thighs.
That's right.
So it was probably a shin or something. Who knows?
Bicep.
Yeah, we don't know. He said, quote, so I got done there, and that night my wife and I went to a dinner party. We were having roast pork with a whole group of people, and I was really hungry, but I couldn't eat that roast because chopped off, it looked exactly like the part I had just seen.
It ruined my dinner.
Fucking ruined him. He said, I was sitting there thinking I really couldn't discuss what I had just gone through with all these people at a dinner party and saying I'll have a little more salad after that, which, yeah. Sure. My wife was giving me that, what's wrong with you? You love this stuff look. And I was thinking, not tonight. I can't do it.
Babe, you ever seen a dead foot?
You ever seen a really well butchered human body? It's really bad. It's not cool. You know what a chicken looks like when you got it?
Skin looks just like that pig right there.
Well, yeah, pork is the most. That's what they do. So she said, he said, not tonight, I can't do it. Here I was at this party acting normal, and 2 hours before I'd been picking body parts out of the woods. One thing we learned from working homicides where the perpetrators had hidden bodies in the woods, that when people hid bodies or something they'd stolen, they'd hide things where they could monitor them. Yeah. And we always see this. Often they did it subconsciously. And that's what I think it is, too. I don't even think they're realizing they're doing it.
Right.
They just had this need to hide them in ways that they could find the spot again to ensure that it hadn't been disturbed. Part of that is due to the fact that a lot of these people who kill and hide bodies are control freaks of one sort or another. But because that's the personality trait that got them to this point where they were thinking, okay, this person isn't controllable anymore, so now my only option is to destroy them. It's well put. And once they have a body in their hands, they have to do something with it, obviously. Yeah. Those types of people have to have that element of control throughout the process. Consciously, they might not even know they're doing it. So when we go out on a search looking for where someone has hidden a body, we put ourselves into their mindset to help us find it. Part of our preparation for the search will be understanding the perpetrator and the circumstances under which the body was hidden.
Okay.
Which makes sense. You want to know a little bit about it. I was reading a little bit about this, and it's fucking interesting as shit here. He says they have to know, they ask a shitload of questions. They don't just go out sniffing with the dog.
Yeah.
He said they act like, people think like you just hear there's something missing and you just run after them with dogs.
Right.
He says, quote, they act like they've seen too many of those old prison escape movies where the farmer comes out with baying bloodhounds to track the convicts.
Right. You rub their underwear on the dog's face and off he goes.
There they go.
Yeah.
Wild animals into the woods. Right. He said they thought we were going to come in and walk the dogs and go home. In reality, our process is far more complex and scientific. He said if we're coming to help law enforcement find a body somewhere in the woods, we'd arrive with our computers and our mapping programs and our expertise, and we'd start learning about their suspect.
Right.
Which is interesting because I don't think people realize that. They just think the guy hops out of the car and the dog starts sniffing.
Right.
That's it. And he said, we'd say, okay, we need to know what that suspect does. We need to know where his world is. Is he a hunter, a fisherman? What type of outdoor activities does he do? How comfortable is he in the woods? Yeah. That'll tell you how far in they might go.
Stop talking. Where's your goddamn dog?
That's exactly. And just have the dog sniff. And he's like, no. How familiar are they with the area? We'd ask what they learned from interviews so we could build a timeline and figure out how much time he had to dispose of the body, whether or not it happened at day or night. It would matter, for example, if they could tie their suspect to a shovel, so we might be looking at a buried body in a deeper hole rather than a hand-dug hole. Sure. Or whether the incident happened in the winter, so the body might be frozen and not giving off a scent, or might be not buried that deep because the ground's frozen. Once we got them past the fundamental public safety instinct to share as little as possible, and they started to see how this worked, they'd buy into it. So, yeah, this is it's an interesting process. I didn't really realize how they do that either. I know they get a set and they go, but I didn't know they show up with computers and start doing mapping. And
it's rare that they show that part on TV because that's the boring shit.
It's boring. Yeah,
that's not exciting.
Yeah, and to figure out if the guy's not comfortable in the woods and it's winter and it's dark, he's probably not going to bury it too far in. Yeah. It's probably going to be pretty close to an entrance.
It's boring as fuck, but watching Samson bellow and run through the woods is rad.
Yeah,
that's where it's at.
Hitting on something.
Go get it, boy.
So for a week, they investigated the home and surrounding area to confirm the death and the manner and make sure that she was telling the truth. Finally, a medical examiner's report on Monday, October 11th, confirmed Jean died of multiple gunshot wounds to the head. And, it was funny. In the press, though, there was these rumors that Jean was dismembered because it's a small town. It gets around. Right. So they kept asking the police, and the police wouldn't say. They kept they didn't want to inflame it. Yeah. So they said, quote, in the interest of the fairness of a trial, investigative information like that will not come out until the trial. The whole idea is to give Vella Gogan through this as fairly as possible. They would not answer, did she chop him up or not? Everyone in this town was like, oh, she fucking finally chopped him up. They were that couple. Yeah. Old Vella finally had enough of Jean. It's like Funny Farm.
Yeah.
The old Claude Musselman, he finally pushed it too far. She buried him in the right in the vegetable garden there.
He had a donkey. Keep an eye out for that.
Keep an eye out for that. Never did turn up. So November 9th, 1999, there's basically they're saying, is there going to be a mental exam or not? This is a month later. She's been in for a month in this facility. And it says here, there's nothing in the law to compel Vella to talk to the state at this time. She's a suspect. She can remain silent. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have to talk to anybody.
She doesn't have to do anything.
No, according to her attorney, especially, who talks about this, her attorney says that they will argue against a request from the state attorney general's office seeking a court order for a mental examination by the state's forensic service. Court-ordered mental exam before the woman is indicted and arraigned in connection with the death of her husband would violate her Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination. Yeah, you can't tell us everything you did.
It's unconstitutional.
Yeah, so the judge didn't rule on the request, but he's going to rule on it soon here. The attorney keeps saying, though, this is bullshit. I'm not going to do it. I won't let her do it, basically. They said everything could take all this time, and that's also not fair to her to make her go through a long process. They said that by the way, they were in the paper, they kept talking about how she didn't even tell him it was the sister. They made a really big deal out of like the sister being
ratting on her,
an interpreter.
Yeah.
But the lawyer for Vella says, quote, "My client has invoked the right to remain silent. That's only trumped when she puts her mental state on as an issue before the court. She has the right to do that, not you." Right. Is what it's saying. You can say competency, but there's a different thing here. Yeah. That's a quick thing. You're talking about a full mental examination. They said, quote, "I know the state is frustrated because she invoked her right to remain silent. That doesn't happen in Maine. A defendant usually gives a statement." What is going on with Maine? We don't use our rights in Maine.
Yeah.
Up here in Maine, we don't use our rights. We just have some
It's not very Mainly of you.
It's not very Mainly. Just have some Pepperidge Farm and tell them what happened. What's wrong with you? Sit out on the porch, have some Pepperidge Farm, and tell them, listen.
And get you a good lobster roll. And
here's some Country Time lemonade.
Curl up with a nice Stephen King and start talking.
There we go. Tell them what happened. Here's your flannel. Let's go. It's getting chilly out. It's getting toward the end of July. It's getting chilly.
It's 2 p.m. It's getting cold now.
Getting a little chilly outside. All right, then.
Night's coming on.
So during the hearing here, the state attorney general said he wanted the examination to preserve evidence based on the belief that Vella will use her mental state at the time of her husband's death as a basis for her defense. And the defense says, we haven't decided that yet, and we don't have to. Mm-hmm. So fuck you, basically. The judge questioned if the request was anticipatory here, and they said there's almost certainly going to be a diminished capacity of Vella Gogin's mental state used in the defense of this case. This is the prosecutor. A defendant's state of mind can change. The court can order the exam and impound it until the plea is entered. So we can't look at it.
Sure.
Order the exam, the doctors hear it, and then whatever, until everything comes out. Her mental state is not an issue until such time as we place it before the court, is what her lawyer said. So there's nothing there. The defense says, quote, "I've agreed to the psychiatric evaluation to determine her competence to stand trial. The state is obligated to examine, not to prosecute someone who is not competent to understand the court's process." So they're talking about competency a lot for a minute here because she's in the hospital for almost 2 months, we'll talk about. A psychiatric defense could be used if she suffered from an abnormal condition of the mind or was not criminally responsible. If it was decided to use a psychiatric defense, a competency hearing could then be scheduled. Her lawyer said, quote, "I think she's competent. She's certainly doing better than when I first saw her. I currently think she is competent to assist in her own defense." Okay. That's all they're talking about. Then they ask about the sister. Is the sister in trouble and they're like, no, the sister did the right thing.
Sister's a hero.
Yeah. She said, quote, "Carlene was in a difficult situation. She knew her sister had done something illegal. These have been really difficult weeks for the Pelletier and Gogin families. This case will eventually deal with the most private aspects of their life." Obviously here. So November 19th, 1999, there's a bail hearing. Yeah. You figure bail. She's still locked up, by the way. She's still not even out of the mental hospital yet. So you figure 17 pieces, you're probably not getting bail for that shit.
Or at least super high.
Something, right? So they talk about, during the bail hearing, they talk a lot about the fact that there was a lot of domestic abuse at the house and that she's not some crazy, some bloodthirsty monster who just can't wait to butcher somebody. This is a different thing. She said that, but then the prosecution said that she didn't even turn herself in. She had to be coerced into
excellent point
going to the police. So it's not like, she's that reliable. She said, but for Carlene Pelletier, Jean Gogan might have just been another horrible statistic of a missing person that never came home. The judge is going to decide, as we'll talk about, that they're going to give her bail. Now, any decision like that, the prosecutor said was wrong and misguided. He said, quote, Jean Gogan is the victim, not Vella Gogan.
Mm-hmm.
He attempted to paint a picture of an unstable woman, a threat to herself and others, and a likely candidate to flee from justice if given bail. She's not where is she going to go?
The person she wants to hurt is done.
Well, plus she's an older lady, 55. She's not old, but she's an older lady who's lived in the same place with the same guy for almost 40 years, where it's not like she's got a vast network of places she can go.
Yeah.
Well, she's got the Malibu beach house. She could end up there. The hunting lodge in Wyoming is a place. You never know. She could end up over there.
Who knows? That Vegas loft.
There's that. And then also the Puerto Vallarta condo. I mean, she could end up down there. You never know. Who knows with Vella? She's got a lot of options. So, he pointed out that Jean Gogan was never convicted of. This is the balls on this guy, though. The prosecutor said Jean Gogan was never convicted of an offense involving his wife.
Oh, boy.
The cops have been there all the time, but never convicted of a crime. Okay,
not enough to be arrested on.
It's kind of made him sound like a dick in court, I bet. Even in the late 90s,
I'd like to check on his wife.
I don't know about that.
She all right?
Yeah, right. So she said, quote, comes from the court. If the court finds that she is entitled to bail, it could be extinguished by evidence from the state that she is a risk of danger to others or is a risk of not appearing in court. She's not just a dangerous person. She says, this is a woman 55 years old, married to the same man for 37 years. She's lived in this area most of her life. She has a large and supportive family, many of whom who were there at her initial court appearance to support her and help her in any ways she can. So they said in the state's own testimony, they reported a history of domestic abuse in this marriage. Jean Gogan was described as someone with an explosive personality, one where he would fly into a rage, these are in quotes, talking about Vella. To the neighbors, he'd just be like, that fucking bitch, my wife. They'd be like, whoa, he's that guy.
He's already mad just by asking about her.
Every neighborhood has that guy where every time he brings up his wife, he's like, my fucking, you're like, Jesus. Good God, you get a divorce, you miserable asshole.
Well, don't worry about him because once he's divorced, he's going to still talk about it.
more then, but at least, what is wrong with you?
How you doing? I'm happy I'm free from that bitch.
Yeah, free from that goddamn bitch. Be like that cab driver, the Uber driver I had in Denver, who was like, that fucking bitch, that...
That's him.
I love that.
That's the guy.
Do you like Denver? Denver's nice. People are nice. People very nice. Very nice people. Everyone here, very nice. Except for my ex-wife. She is fucking bitch. What? It's like this guy. 5 a.m. I'm like, all right, I'm up. I'm awake now.
Yeah.
I'm perked up, man.
Buckle up. The next 20 minutes is all about this fucking bitch.
That was amazing. Every time I call, so you pick my kid up, I call her when it snows. Maybe she crash on the way there. Every time she make it. She always make it. She don't crash. Every time. I wish she would die. And I'm like, this guy is crazy. If it was like a cab, I could have got his name just in case something happened. But I don't know who he was. Who knows what it was on the Uber.
Some guy that gave the wrong name to Uber.
Who knows? I was
on
just
the
like,
lam.
whoa, this guy is all out there. He says, they say all the evidence that they have comes from her. If she and her sister hadn't reported him missing, they would have nothing. This doesn't indicate she's a danger to the community. Makes sense.
Sure.
Said, we're asking for bail to be set. Please, get some bail here. She's still in the hospital anyway, so the bail would be for once she's determined to be safe, whatever. So, they said that she's 37-year marriage. She's endured a lot of abuse. She said, quote, this is the lawyer, quote, if we had wanted to play games with the state, we would have never told them where to find Jean Gogan's body. So they would have never fucking found it. Okay. They barely found it when she told them where it was. With dogs, right. Yeah. So if she just said, I don't know, 20 miles away in a woods off a logging road, they'd have never found him in a million years. No body, no crime, as we've known.
Right. Or if she just says, I don't know what happened to him.
Don't know.
Nobody would have ever known.
That's it. Would have never goddamn known. She said, I had to wait for Vela's informed consent to tell them. She wanted to tell me, but given her initial state of mind, I had to wait before I could tell my investigator to take the police to the site. So the lawyer even said the only reason there was a delay is because of me. I told her not to. I didn't say shit about it until I knew more. So don't blame her for that, is what the lawyer is saying. So in the ruling, the judge said that the state's evidence against Gogan standing alone would represent a clear and convincing presentation that Vela Gogan presently poses a risk of danger to the community simply due to the nature of the crime, its manner of commission, her gruesome effects to avoid its detection, and her psychiatric condition. However, the entire weight of the evidence suggests that the events of this crime are uniquely and closely related to Mrs. Gogan's chronic dysfunctional relationship with the victim, her husband, and that no other person exists in the community who would be the object of any other untoward or aberrational act by her.
Bail granted.
In other words, he's the only one that she's going to kill.
Yeah.
He's gone. I really don't think she's going to kill anyone else unless they abuse her for 30 years.
Her list is empty.
So he says that basically it's a surety bond of $190,000 that he allows the brother's property to be put up in the place of it. Okay. So, and her brother's property is a piece, and the judge allows her to put her property up, which is... That's where the state's like, that's who knows if she's going to end up with that, because that's half Jean's.
Right.
So that could be contested. She can't use that as money. And the judge says, fuck it. Sure she can. Why not? It's fine.
It just guarantees that she'll show up. It's not like Jesus.
She'll be allowed to live with her brother for now. She can't live at the crime scene.
Right.
The prosecutor gets all mad about this, calls it an execution-style killing, and said that Vela was not acting in fear of her own life. The prosecutor said the bail should have been $500,000. This is ridiculous. Basically, the judge, it's almost house arrest is what she's on. The list includes the ruling includes a list of 24 people, mostly relatives of Jean Gogan, whom Vela is not allowed to have contact with legally while she's out here. List includes Jean's children, Jean and Vela's daughter, her own daughter, and her grandchildren as well, Vela's grandchildren. Not allowed to talk to any of them, but at least she's out of jail, but she's not out yet because she's still in the mental hospital.
Yeah.
That's how this works. She has bail, but she's still there. They said basically the family members offered to provide round-the-clock surveillance. They said they would provide transportation to and from psychiatric and medical appointments, and they would ensure that she takes all medicine prescribed. Let her out. We'll take care of her. So they said that the prosecutor said that amount of bail is woefully inadequate. He said it's that he was saying that Jean had called the cops on her too.
Okay.
So, maybe she was abusing him. Maybe this was just the end of a long road of abuse on her part, and she finally decided to kill him. People are like, yeah, probably not. We never heard her threatening to kill him, the family dog, burn the house down, and blow her brains out in the front yard. No one's ever heard that.
And dance in the flames.
Very few neighbors have heard that while blowing his fucking brains out. Not happening here. So she ends up, they allow her family to get some of her belongings out of the house. So the prosecutor also says that it's unprecedented to allow Vela to use her own property to post bail when there's no assurance she'd inherit the Jean's property of the joint ownership. He also objected to her placement and monitoring in the home of a convicted felon who's her brother. Her brother's a convicted felon. Now, keep in mind, this is 1999. They wouldn't elaborate on the whatever his crime was, the brother. That's because they said they brought that objection up, and the judge said, "Well, when was this felony take place?" The prosecutor said, "Oh, I don't know. We don't have that information." The defense did, though. The 1950s.
Oh, boy.
The guy got in trouble 40 years ago. He's a felon, this guy. It's been 40 years. Calm down. Chill.
He's a felon.
The 50s. It's 1999. He had a fucking greaser hairdo and a leather jacket when he got in trouble for fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He looked like John Travolta in the 70s, and now
in the 50s, there was only like 3 felonies.
There was only like 3 laws, I'm sure. Yeah, you had to like kill a woman.
Right.
I mean, if it was for a reason in the 50s, it was fine. You get away with it.
It was legal to have sex with children back then.
As long as you married them afterwards, goddamn. You better marry that girl, make an honest 10th grader out of her. You better make an honest sophomore out of my daughter.
It was like murder and then grand theft. That was really it, right?
He stole my shit. So, they said she ends up getting out of the mental institution here. And everything like that. The judge ruled that she must be looked after by her friends and family and all this type of shit. Basically, there's a list of 9 people, some of which have to be with her at all times, including her relatives, friends, psychiatric caseworker, all these people. Okay. The judge said, you're all responsible for keeping an eye on her.
Keep her out of trouble.
They're going to go with the battered woman defense here, the battered wife defense, and they're wondering at the time if there's any precedence in Maine for this working, actually, because it goes better in some states than others based on their specific laws. Their strategy, the defense, was to focus on the long-term domestic abuse, and they said that the first time it was actually used successfully in Maine was in 1991 when the jury acquitted a restaurant owner, a woman named Jacqueline Bevins, in the murder of her husband, whose name was Jack Bevins, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Jacqueline and Jack? Get the fuck out of here.
That's horrific.
That's too much.
Jack and Jackie?
Jack and Jackie. That's a lot. I guess the Kennedys, they called him Jack, even though his name was John. Isn't that weird? John used to be Jack back in the day.
Well, it's just short for John. It's literally Jimmy for James. It's the same thing.
But it's the same. No,
but it's one syllable. So what's the point?
That's what I'm saying.
But that's what they do.
It's the same name, John. Jack. It's what they're barely. Why would you?
You're not changing anything.
That's a different name.
You're literally saving no time. You're just calling somebody something else.
But it's also a completely different name.
Right.
They have the same first letter, and then it's J. It's a completely different goddamn name. Right. Jack and John, or do you name your kid Jack, or you name your kid John? You can't name your kid John and go, well, I mean, that's Jack too.
It's like Frank being short for Fred. That doesn't make any sense.
That makes no sense.
Why are we doing that?
Why? Those are different names. Name him Frank or name him Fred. Right. Goddamn, pick one.
You fucked up. Don't make us suffer.
Why? So that was 1990, and the judge's ruling supported the defense attorney's claim that Mrs. Bevins attacked in self-defense when she shot her husband 15 times in the bathroom of her home. It's a lot. The defense focused on the woman's state of mind at the time of the shooting and her belief that her husband planned to kill her or have her killed. And
15 times?
15 times. That's a lot. Empty the clip.
What year?
1990.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was going to say, if this was in the 50s, they didn't have any magazines that held that many.
No, that was the 90s.
She reloaded a lot.
No, she just emptied it.
Okay.
Yeah. December 10th, 1999, she's going to plead not guilty, Vella does. She leaves the Augusta Mental Health Institute after being held there, obviously, involuntarily, and she gets to leave. She doesn't deny any responsibility for the death of her husband. She's saying she did it, but she's saying that she is entering a plea of not guilty in formal arrangement proceedings. This case was a case of self-defense, is what the attorney says. She suffered years of abuse in that marriage. Vella Gogan has terrible remorse for what happened.
Okay.
So they said they've never, her lawyer said they've never understood this case, talking about the prosecution. They don't understand it still. Vella Gogan refused to wait until the gun was at her head or the knife was at her throat, but it is nonetheless self-defense. It was an act of desperation. She's not a cold, calculating woman, as the state would have you believe. There's no question that this woman is of no risk to anyone. Fair enough. She goes for a change of venue because this obviously said,
everybody knows it.
It's on Easter, do you want to look for Easter eggs or the thigh bones?
Right.
Which one? That's the type of shit that's going on around here. Like it's Gene's thighs are still out there somewhere. It's crazy shit. So they move it from Somerset to York County to get out of this little area. August 2000, they have the search warrant hearing because the judge ends up, that whole thing of they didn't have a search warrant. The judge ends up ruling it legal, saying that basically they didn't realize that they could have got a search warrant. It wasn't like they couldn't.
Just
and then
miscommunication.
They ended up getting it, and so basically they would have found it. It wasn't like anything would have changed from 2 days to then, is what they said. So either way, when he got the warrant on the 7th, he still would have found the same shit that he found on the 4th. Okay. Doesn't matter. So it wasn't like they had one shot to search it. They were there the whole week.
The body wasn't there anyway.
There you go. That's a quick thing. March 14th, 2001 is jury selection here, and that's a hard thing to do because they're for some reason, a case like this, when they pick a jury, they have to ask them very weird questions about, like, how you feel about this. How do you feel about domestic violence? Have you ever been a victim, or have you ever seen it? Or did you grow up with this? And you have to...
They want to try to get the people that are sympathetic to a husband that beats the shit out of his wife?
The prosecution wants nobody that's ever been around domestic violence, because obviously you'd go, that's a fucking monster, somebody who does that. Yeah, Jesus Christ, fuck that guy.
Do you want somebody that's never been around it, or do you want somebody that's like witnessed it and really affected by it? Well, do you know what I mean?
Well, they would side with Vela probably. Yeah. If you're the prosecution, you want somebody who's never seen it. It's like, you could have got it. You're fine. What are you talking about? Somebody like that who just thinks it's no big deal.
Horrified by it.
You need somebody who's seen it and can go, oh, fuck, you know, that's the defense. But the prosecution wants people who don't care, never seen it and don't care.
Yeah.
So at this point, they're trying to decide. Vela's legal team comes out and decides that they're not sure. They don't decide. They're indecisive about the fact that they're not sure if they want a jury trial or they want to waive the jury trial and let it be a bench trial. Let the judge deal with this, because they feel like the people are idiots.
Yeah.
And you never know the assembled group. That's the thing about a jury. Like, all lawyers say this, and prosecutors especially say, you never know who you're going to get.
Yeah.
So you have no idea on this jury if you're going to get people who, how it turns out with your strikes and everything, if you're going to find out people who have no sympathy for her.
Sure.
If something comes out, something gets disallowed, that who knows, where if it's a judge, judges look at things, they're more intelligent than your average juror.
Prosecutors would rather see a bench trial, right? Because no?
Prosecutors, depends on what it is.
Yeah, because you don't want to work all... that's the thing I've always heard, is that you don't want to entrust all your hard work into 12 idiots that know nothing about the law.
And that's the thing. But there are a lot of times, if you're a prosecutor with a weak case, you can meld those 12 idiots. You can make those 12 idiots vote for you.
Sure.
You can't make the judge the same way.
Sure.
That's what I mean. Like, that's like the Staircase documentary.
Yeah.
We should do a bonus episode on that at some point. With the Staircase documentary and the case, not just the documentary, when you look at that a bench trial, that guy is not getting convicted if it was a bench trial, because they didn't have any goddamn evidence.
Right.
Well, they did some, but it was too cloudy.
Too circumstantial and weird.
Yeah, they convinced that North Carolina jury of just normal stock and trade people.
Yep.
They convinced all of them that dude was gay and seedy and gross.
Yep.
That's what they convinced him of. They got from there to, so obviously he'd kill his wife, and they all went,
Yep.
and they convicted him. When you watch that trial on the documentary, that fucking true-faced prosecutor.
Yeah.
She was the worst, that lady.
The stank she rubbed on gay.
She'd come in and she'd go, the gay.
Yeah.
She made it like 8 syllables, and she'd like put stank on it and roll her eyes while she was doing
9 Ys.
He was a homosexual encounters was all he was interested in. Like, a judge would have went, you can fucking keep your stank off of your, I don't need that shit. And she would know better than to do that to a judge, because a judge would just piss them off.
Sure.
Don't try to do theatrics with a judge. Yeah. Whereas a jury, you can do a lot of theatrics, and the judge will sit there and roll his eyes, but it's not up to him.
Right.
So that's how this works. Anyway, so she decides, or her legal team and Vela decides, that it might be better for her to have a judge hear the case rather than a jury.
Yeah.
Jury might be able to be convinced, especially at the 90s are different, and especially in Maine. We've come a long way in 20 years.
Yeah.
We really have, especially on domestic violence type shit. So they said that they're going to present a battered woman defense and all that. The judge said that he will do it. He'll preside. The defense said basically it's because all of the types of evidence that will be presented. This is a very intelligent judge, and Vela felt that it would be in her best interest to have him hear the case, because the jury's just going to hear chopped into 17 pieces. That's all they're going to hear.
Right.
Chopped into 17 pieces, hid in the woods. She didn't say anything. You can say it, convince it that she's a monster. March of 2001. So some time has gone by here. Vela, right before the case is going to trial, Vela decides to plead guilty.
Really?
She pleads guilty after she gets a very decent offer from the Attorney General.
And what is it?
Basically, they see the wins in the way this is going, and that the fact that she's going to have a bench trial does not bode well for the prosecution here. So the offer from the Attorney General's office was for a manslaughter conviction here. A manslaughter conviction, and it carries no mandatory minimum sentence as opposed to a murder conviction, which has a mandatory minimum of 25 years. Mm-hmm. So for her, it's like, I mean, if you go to trial, you could get 25. If you take this, I mean, you could get probably very low amount of jail time.
You're at the mercy of the judge, though.
You're at the mercy of the judge, who, I mean, you know, you've said it's a smart judge. You like him, so let him fucking pick. So this offer comes in, and her defense attorney said she went back and forth. It was a very difficult decision for her. They felt that she had a good chance of getting acquitted based on her defense, but the risk of a mandatory minimum sentence of 25 years, you never know what's going to happen. So that outweighs a lot. So they decide that they are going to accept the manslaughter deal. She's going to do that. One psychiatrist and 3 psychologists concurred that Vella had been abused throughout her marriage and suffered from battered woman syndrome. The state psychiatrist, everybody. Yeah. They got 4 doctors. They all went, oh, he fucking beat her up and messed her up for years. So
a piece of cod, battered.
Yeah. At that point, the state, that's why the state made the offer, because it's really hard to go to a murder trial and your experts are going, yeah, the defense is right. Yeah. I mean, that's a hard thing. You'd have to be like, nope, doesn't matter anyway. She should have done something different. She tried to leave. She went many times. The judge here, in his written ruling, he said that the state's evidence against Gogan standing alone, like we said, would be a tough thing. But then if you add in her side of it, it's not that bad. He said that Vella had, quote, a partial self-defense argument arising from her fear that her husband, based on his history of abuse and her belief that he was going to kill her. He also suggested that shooting her husband was not her only possible course of action. She said, quote, she could have walked out that front door. True, but yeah, obviously it's more complicated than that. Right. These conflicting messages could lead from murder to manslaughter, the judge said. So they also talked about her avoiding detection and her psychiatric condition. He's basically weighing the whole thing. So he said, but the entire weight of it is, like we said, she killed him. She's not killing anybody else unless they abuse her for 40 years. And she's 55 already, so it's probably not happening. So the prosecutor, though, is pissed off. Prosecutor makes a statement. He hates this. The Attorney General's office made the deal. The guy who's prosecuting the case, Benson is his name. Yeah. He hates that. He wanted Vella. He wanted her for 25 years. Yeah. He was fucking mad at her, man. I just picture...
Angry Perry Mason.
Angry guy. He's just so angry, this man. He said the state had overwhelming evidence in this case that Vella Gogan intentionally or knowingly caused the death of her husband. Unfortunately, that is the only part of the trial equation. When the issue is self-defense, when the issue of self-defense is generated, the burden shifts to the state to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant knew either that her husband was not about to use deadly force against her or that she knew it was not necessary to use deadly force against him. In this case, all of the forensic experts, including those from the State Forensic Service, agree that the defendant had an honest, though perhaps objectively unreasonable belief that her husband was about to use deadly force against her. Under Maine law, I guess that translates into a manslaughter. Mm-hmm. He's not thrilled with this, but basically he said, all of my experts said it, so everybody's going to be a doctor now, I guess. I guess fuck it. Yeah. It's fine. So April 5th, 2001 is sentencing. During the hearing, Gene Gogan's family gets a chance to speak, and they not pull any punches. They say some nasty shit in court to her.
Gene Gogan's family?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
They're real nasty to her. She pleaded guilty, and man, here we go. Let's talk about it. Yeah. Vella had there's a 2-hour sentencing hearing, and Vella gets to say her thing, and she does. She gets to make her statement. We always say here, if you're going to plead guilty, when they tell you, what do you want to say, you better say something.
Yeah, and sympathetic.
Yeah, empathetic sympathy. You better not just be like, I guess, Your Honor, fuck it, I don't have shit to say to you. Yeah. Well, that's probably not good. Because we've heard judges go, well, I was going to give him 5 years. And then he said...
after that...
Yeah, then he was a jerk in court, so I gave him 12 years. And you're like, whoa, that's a lot of different years for you to have just gone, it's a terrible thing. I'm sorry, and I shouldn't have done it, and I know better now. That's all you had to say. Yep. 7 less years in prison.
Prison.
Actual prison.
7 Years.
We've heard that exact scenario where the guy's like, I was going to give you this, but you're being a dick, so you know what?
I'm allowed to do this.
You're going away. She says, quote, Your Honor, I am very sorry for what I did to Gene. I'm sorry for hurting his family and my family. I loved Gene very much, but I thought he was going to kill me, and I didn't want to die.
Sure.
That seems reasonable when someone says it, puts it that way, and I didn't want to die.
What did his family say?
Quickly, we'll do the sentencing here. The judge says, I guess you, ma'am, may fuck off. He says that she'll be sentenced to 15 years in prison, but all but 6 of them suspended.
Okay, so 6 years.
6 years in prison and then 6 years probation after that.
And time served.
Yeah. So 6 years in prison. The courtroom, there was about 15 members of the Gogan family in the courtroom as well. And then we'll talk about what they say here. Vela, though, is led away by deputies to begin serving her 6-year prison term afterwards. She hugs her family. They let her hug her family and all that type of shit. So here comes the Vela family, or the Gogan family here. They are expressing outrage. They called it a lenient sentence and suggestive. They all said that if the marriage was abusive, it was Vela that was the abuser.
Oh!
Not even Gene. All Vela. She's the abuser. Susan Estes, a niece of Gene Gogan, said she was ashamed to be a resident of the state of Maine today.
Really?
Ashamed to be his I'm ashamed to be a Mainer.
They brought shame upon the state.
The judge's decision brought shame upon the state, and she has lost her faith in the judicial system
altogether.
Up until now, the American judicial system has been perfectly just. No one's ever been. It's just been perfect. We've never had a problem with it, but now
this is post OJ.
That an abused older lady. Well, not only that, this is for what do they do to people they didn't like forever? Every fucking minority and everything else for years and years. So, I mean, now, though, that an abused older lady only has to go to prison for 6 years. Ashamed.
The whole thing.
Now it's finally done. We should start over. Break down the whole system.
Not just Maine, 49 other states, American justice system.
They said, are you satisfied? And she said, no, we're not satisfied. She said, then, she said, yelled at the reporter, quote, you think he had it coming, right? Well, hell no, he didn't. Wow. How could anyone in their right mind do this? And this lady is shouting in a courtroom, by the way. She said the 6-year sentence would set an example in the state of Maine.
It sets precedent. We can our spouses' lives are worth 6 years.
Yeah, that's it.
We can kill them all.
Well, the judge has an answer for that. That's amazing. So she then shouts at Vela in the court, quote, I hope your conscience destroys you. And then Cynthia Spencer, who's another niece of Gene, said that Vela had spent years isolating Gene from his family. She says, quote, if the situation here were reversed, Gene would have been behind bars immediately. So another statement she read during the hearing, this was read by her husband here, the Cynthia Spencer's husband. She said that Vela Gogan killed Gene Gogan out of rage, not fear, and Gene Gogan was not the man the defense portrayed him to be. She further advised men in unhappy marriages to, quote, sleep with one eye open. Because now you can just kill your husband.
It's open season.
So the judge stops all of that shit that they kept saying, and he says, this is a fucking judge. This is Justice Fritzy? I don't know. He says this is a hilarious quote. I don't think we're going to have husbands stacked up like cordwood across the state because of this particular sentence. I don't think this is going to ruin society. Relax. I think this is a very stacked up like cordwood. Chill the fuck out is what he said. Calm down. He appeared, and these people lost a relative. Obviously, they're upset.
They're mad.
And they're going to be mad. But at the same time, contextually, you know.
You can't blow it out like this.
Yeah. The judge said he seemed to think the sentencing agreement was reasonable and that he tried the case based on the evidence in front of him. He would have probably found Vela guilty of manslaughter. He said, if it went to me, we would have gone through it and got the same fucking conclusion. Yeah. It's manslaughter. He said, quote, I think I would have agreed that that murder was too much and an acquittal was not appropriate. I think, manslaughter is fair here. Gene Gogan's family also did not want to comment. Seems like they wanted to comment a lot.
I got a lot to say.
One unidentified man with the family screamed out from the crowd, quote, "The judge just forgot to give her back her gun and knife so she can do it again."
Oh, my God.
Screamed that out after the goddamn sentencing came down. Bastard. That's not a good thing to do because you could just be held in contempt.
Yeah.
Judges can do whatever they want in their courtroom.
You can't do that in a courtroom anyway.
You're in like a crazy person's house at that point.
Right.
And all the doors are locked, and he can do whatever he wants. And if you try to run away, he has armed people that will drag you back and
it's his rules.
And have whatever's done to you.
Put you in a room with bars.
Literally, it can be like, contempt. Put that person in jail. What did I do? Doesn't matter. I don't like it. You're in my fucking court. And they just drag you away.
I said you did contempt. That's what you did.
How long contempt? Till I feel like it. Okay. And that's like you don't even need legal process. It's crazy. They just throw you away. It's fucking wild. So she goes into jail, obviously, for manslaughter. And she does her time, and she gets out of jail here, and she gets out, I believe, December of was it 2007, I believe.
Oh,
either way, 2006. She ends up getting out, after her time. She's quiet for a little bit, and then she starts having some trouble. When she's out.
Yeah.
This is just sad. December of 2008, she's arrested again.
Oh, no.
This is not good. She's on, obviously, parole or probation for 6 years now. She's arrested for nothing violent. Couldn't be any less violent than this. She's in her 60s now. She's arrested from stealing from an Olympia sports store in Waterville, Maine. She stole 2 bottles of water and a pair of Crocs.
Why?
That's what she stole.
Of all things.
Don't know. I don't know why.
2 bottles of water and a pair of
Crocs. Why the Crocs?
That's disappointing.
So in 2009, she goes back to jail for violating her parole. For shoplifting.
Yeah.
But she does this. She's just six months she has to do. So at least she doesn't get do the rest of the 15 or something.
25 years for it.
Yeah. She's released in June of 2009. She gets out. So that's bad.
She's fine?
August of 2009.
Oh.
She's out of jail a couple months. She's arrested again.
What the fuck, Vella?
Again for shoplifting.
What?
Again. Yeah. I don't know what her problem is, man.
What did she take this time?
This time I don't know what store it was, but it's a Hannaford, which is a grocery store.
Yeah.
Hannaford's, she is arrested, charged with this for stealing 2 bottles of baby powder.
What the fuck? What do you need baby powder for there?
Just 2 bottles of baby powder.
She
Nothing
doesn't have
else.
Babies?
No, I don't know if she's got a moisture problem on her own or she's sweaty or what, but 2 bottles of baby powder. The court-appointed attorney asked she be released on her own recognizance. She's told the judge she would have trouble paying any amount of bail. She has no money, basically.
I stole baby powder. I have 0 money.
Crocs and baby powder.
Yeah.
The district attorney said that the probation officer recommended that Vella undergo psychiatric evaluation and be held without bail because of the first of all, the oddness of it, and the also nature of the underlying charge, and because 2 razor blades were found in the door handle of her car, which is strange. Vella told the judge she used the razor blades to open the window of her car.
What?
I don't know if she has to get it. I don't know how she. I don't know why she would need razor blades to open the window of her car. But at the time she was arrested with this stuff, she told the police that the razor blades were for, quote, picking scabs off her legs.
Oh, my God.
How many scabs do you have?
Maybe if you didn't use razor blades.
Razor blade? Is that how we pick scabs off
That
now?
is wild.
That's what I mean. There's something wrong here, man. There's something that's not right.
She clearly didn't want to talk about the real reason for those.
There's something going on.
I use them to open my window. What?
Yeah. They talk about what makes this noteworthy is that the defendant was convicted of manslaughter, and the defense attorney at one point says just like, I don't know why she's doing this, and I'm perplexed, and I'm worried I don't know what's wrong with her, basically. And so the prosecutor was trying to get her thrown back in jail for the rest of her sentence.
Yeah.
Basically, this should be a whatever. And he said that she's been convicted of manslaughter. And the judge said that, he would have set a higher bail if she'd been brought in on a violent charge. Yeah. But he said, quote, shoplifting is not that kind of offense. It's 2 bottles of baby powder. Fucking relax. So August of 2009, she's in court for her probation violation. They set bail at a $5,000 unsecured bond, which she can just basically, it's ROR. She won't have to put up any bail unless she fails to appear in court, is the way that works. So if she's convicted, she could be sent back to prison for up to 9 years, the remainder of her sentence.
4.5 years a bottle.
It's crazy. The new misdemeanor charge of theft by unauthorized taking, she faces up to 6 months in jail and a fine of $1,000. Obviously, the amount of time that you ask on a revocation is going to increase the more violations you have, is what they said. The idea of probation is it's a court order that we expect you to obey the court orders. As you continue to violate the law while you're on probation, the ante keeps going up, obviously. And you can see a picture of Vela here after this is her mugshot for being arrested.
Vela. That lady shot a man once.
Yeah, she's just like this lady in her 60s who looks like this kind of a sad old lady.
Over.
She looks like a sad older lady. That's it.
A depressed squirrel.
That's it.
Poor lady.
That, everybody, is Vela Gogan and Jean Gogan, Hartland, Maine.
She's out now, yes?
Yeah, she's out now. I think she's still alive from what I've seen. She's going by her maiden name again.
Good.
She's going by Pelletier again. But that's what she's listed under. She lives in Maine, I believe, but she's out of prison and out of jail and hasn't been in any more trouble since then or anything like that.
Keep your hands in your pockets.
So hands in your pockets. Watch out for baby powder. And here's the other thing. If you work at a store and you see some old lady and she steals baby powder, maybe talk to her. Maybe before you call the cops, maybe talk to her and see what her situation is.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe dip into your pocket and you fucking pony up $4 for the baby powder. And you go, you know what? I got this. Don't worry about it. And you take it's an old lady. How often is that shit going to happen?
Yeah. And if you see her stealing Crocs, talk her into the Nikes.
That's what I'm saying. Be like, listen, you need to up your thievery game here.
Wear those.
How the fuck are you going to? I get it that you have to, but I'm not calling the cops on a lady in her 60s who's not a physical danger to anybody.
Yeah.
Unless she's waving around weapons, I'm not calling the cops on an old lady. I'm just not doing it.
I don't think I could either.
I'm not.
No.
I can't do it. I just picture something ringing in my head being like, what are you going to what's wrong with you? What are you afraid of some old lady?
Call the cops on the old lady,
Call the cops on an old lady now, huh?
Do?
Is that what you're going to do? It just rings in my head. I got uncles going on. I can't deal with it. So
what, are you scared of her?
What is she going to come over here? Is she going to take something from you? You worried? Huh?
What's she going to take off you, Jimmy?
Come on. So, hands in your pockets, Vela. Let's just say
you got Crocs in your closet, Jimmy?
What do you got, baby powder?
She's going to come get yours?
What are you, a little moist? A little sweaty? Is that your problem? A little sweaty under your shirt?
You're afraid she's coming after you, Fiji? Is that what you're scared
that's what's going on. I see how you're doing. So if you like that, let us know about it. Get on Apple Podcasts, that purple icon. Give us 5 stars because that helps a ton. We don't know why, but it helps drive you up the charts.
Something about it.
So there you go. Get on there, please. It does help a lot. And say something. We don't care what you say because it's not for our ego. It's literally just to drive us up the charts and help on a business end.
It's your favorite water.
It is. And also on the business end, if you want to help, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com because you can buy all your merchandise there. Everything you'd want to know about the shows, Small Town Murder and Crime and Sports, which you should surely be listening to.
Sure.
You do not have to like sports.
No.
It's not a show that's like, it's a sports show, and then we talk about arrests. It's a show about fuck-ups, and then we're like, that guy played sports. Can you believe it?
Mainly.
Can you believe he was rich and famous, and then he did all of this dumb shit?
Right.
That's kind of the show for the most part. So listen to that. If you want to hear an idiot's fall from grace, that's how you hear it.
It's terrific.
Check that out every Tuesday, and also listen to P.S. I Hate This Movie on Saturdays because I have to watch awful movies, so please listen to me rant about them. Check that out. Do all that. Get all your merchandise on there. In addition to that, you definitely want to be on Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon is cooking, man. We don't mess around on Patreon. And
I appreciate you listening.
Absolutely. And especially lately, we have really been going well with the Patreon. We have Lots going on. We did we have Old West Murders coming up here on the new one. We did Love After Lockup.
We did.
Preview on the last one. So much popping off here. Crime and Sports. We did the Real Goodfellas the week before. We got so much crap on there. Worst wrestling characters coming up of all time. So you get access to all of that for just the $5 a month deal. And anybody $5 or above gets access to that. In addition to that, you get Jimmy shouting you out at the end of the show, mispronouncing your name horribly, which is fun because you're a producer now, and that's how we show our love, by destroying your family lineage.
I'm good and bad at it.
In his best effort. That's the thing that's great about it. So you can get all of that and do all of that. It's patreon.com/crime and sports. Patreon.com/crime and sports. We cannot express to you enough how good our Patreon episodes are. Is that arrogant? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
They're really funny. Listen to them, check them out, do that. Or if you just want to have good karma and be a producer, have your name mispronounced by Jimmy, you can do that as well over at PayPal using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. And good God, could we not be more appreciative of everything you do for us.
You make our lives.
You really do. If you just want to follow on social media, get all the new info and see when live shows are canceled and rescheduled and all that sort of shit. You can do that as well.
I fucking hate this world.
Oh, man. At Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, and at Small Town Murder on Instagram. Check all that out. Follow us. Keep up with it. That said, after this craziness and everything else, I need to hear the names of the most fantastic goddamn people who would never chop us up into so many pieces that our thigh bones were never found. Jimmy, hit me with those names right now.
This week's executive producers are Jordan Bennett. Brian Harbour donated 2 ways. Thank you so much, Brian.
Goodness. Of course. Hello. Yeah.
That requires an explanation.
Yeah, probably. I'm on the phone, everybody. It's a long story.
Yeah.
Guys are probably like, why would Jimmy be at the studio and I'm on the phone? It's such a long explanation that we don't have time for it during
We'll get to it later.
We'll get to it later. There's a reason why I am in a remote location.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Jimmy has the shout-outs, and I want to give them, and damn it, I don't care where I am on the fucking moon.
We'll figure it out.
I want the people.
All right. The rest of the people executives this week are Joshua West, Natasha Patel, Sabrina Jones, Susanna Platt, Abby Hartley, Amanda Jacobs, Jason Fuller. Sean Banner died, man.
Oh, man. By the way, yes.
I'm furious. Just
one of our Story of Sean on Twitter, and one of our original listeners.
Yeah.
And man, we really that kills us. We met him multiple times in live shows.
What a guy!
What a nice guy, and we really liked him. And anybody who met him, you guys, if you met him at live shows or whatever, there just to let you know that he passed away.
An enormous personality, just a sweetheart. What a heart on that man. He really was. What a great dude. Nice guy. I'm gonna miss him terrible.
A teddy bear of a guy.
Truly, absolutely. Emily Roberts, Clay Thorson. Again, Clay is a goddamn hero. Thank you so much, Clay.
Thank you.
Edward Lee, Sherlyn Hyde, George Nyman, Sean Galloway, Marie Cephas, Lisa Williams, Sepulveda of the Allison variety, Fern and Irma, no last names for either, Andrew McLean, KG, and Tristan Whelan. Thank you guys so much. Truly, you're fucking amazing. Happy birthday this week, Kelly Danilovich and also Mackie. Both of them have birthdays. Say again.
Happy birthday to you.
My phone connection is awful, and you just said... Happy birthday. It was terrible. Going on, other producers this week are Ashley Vio, Steve Schnell, April Penley, Sarah DeLeon, Peyton Meadows, Brendan Abels, Joshua Francoeur, Rabbi Shmulovich, Zach Bunea, James Martyr, Reagan Shockley, Justin Zagorski, Cliff Martz, happy birthday Leslie Henderson, Janice Hill, Tim Holland, Carol Braun, Judd Spisdy, Georgia Metal Alliance, Howie Feltersnatch, Mariah Rasper, Milan Moore, Rachel Toko, Cindy Wilkin. Happy birthday, Thomas DeMello. And
happy birthday.
There's also Dominic DeCoco and Marcos Garlami. Genera, that's the guys from Inglourious Bastards. Danelle Randall, welcome home, Mark Tuan, Liz Face, Katie Miller, Marcus Garfunkel. TJ Maxx's birthday was last week. Happy birthday, TJ. Amanda Lupus. Scott Souza, Bradley James Ward, Delaney Robert, Jacqueline Brown, Greg Rickendaller, Andrew Anderson, Kristen Schulman, Jack Yacklin, Jake Fraser. Nope, that's Jack Fraser. Andrew Heller, Peter Hanshaw, Joshua Hazelman, Julia Larson, Johnston Davis, Kevin Nesgoda, Jimmy Noodle Legs, Haywood Jablomi, Danielle.
Coming out of the woodwork today.
I know.
Filter snatch, Jablomi's hair. Good Lord. If Ben Dover comes to the party, we're going to have a fucking... It's over, man.
Danielle Vescalani, Lane Plush, Judy Anderson, Christina Baltes, Wade Steinprice, Ronan D, Marcus Evans, Dana Brown, Ashley Livingston, Shaylin, Austin Jensen, Nathan Tipton, Danielle Bashina, nope, Patience Rice, David Santana.
Reese or Rice? Those are very different.
Took Harkless, Michael and Joy Goodall Leonard, Luke Del Medico. What? Del Medico. Christine Ruxton, like the Teddy. That was Ruxpin. Brandon Vernoy, Carrie Clardy, Golden State Theater, Jenny Hendrickson, Karen Morris, Jordan Krim, Boss, Mark Lati Olayas. I'm just going to go real slow. Josh Top, Jen Lachese, Kaylee Jenkins, Nathan Wright, Melanie Curtis, JB9552, Jack Farrell, Joanna Bachhammer, Strong Arm Tactics, Chris the Great, Ben White, Christina Stunkard, Ivania Cabrera, Jeremy Lupe, Chloe Hammonds, Bree Alabama, Zach Cowan, Sheldon Stewart, Helena Souza, Whitney Pope, Sarah Group, Brandon Moe, Rochelle Largent, Jackie McDonald, Lyle Harrington, Eric Tycote. What else do we got here? Kristen Hansen, Sammy Maserly. Two fingers, James.
Scroll like the wind, Jimmy.
Chris Oster, Eric, and then also Eric Lovin, Keith Gillenwater, Tiffany O'Grady, Shelby Gallagher, Lauren Delagardelle, it's one of them, I think. Aaron with no last name. Cody Renaud, Victor Valente, Spencer Battersby, Jenna Naren, Nathaniel Higgers, Alex Wilson, Tim Foley, Araz Zengen, Don Walter, Julian Parney, James Calvert, Teresa Big, Joe G, Brendan Hine, hit him with the Hine, Kenny Cray, Laureen Gale Smith, Aaron Reichenbach, oh boy is that German, Harrison Boone, Nicole Powers, Chukies 75, Cliff Paquette. We met Cliff in fucking Boston, I think. That guy's awesome. Christine with no last name. V. Moore, Jasper, Brooke Howard, Shelly Harrell, I think. Darby and Jason, no last names. Carson Murdoch, Kelsey W., Amanda Bose, Big Ben, Emma Lenore Garza, Braden Kuykendall, Alicia Andrews, Melissa Pasola, Corey James Hode, Swest, Rochelle Amore, Kenny Johnson, Fruz with no last name, Benjamin Williams, Cody with no last name, Chris Clary, Ryan Crichton, Derek Orr, Jonathan Vasquez, Lisa Fletcher, Stacy H., Stephanie Fuchihashi.
He's on a roll.
Yeah, Derek S.
coming out like nobody's business.
Derek Elizondo, Matt Easy Reader Parker. Was that Matt? It is. Megan Halstead, Bianca Gamble, Chris Shear, Melanie Ide, Kristen Bradley, Scott Works, Alicia Nofke, Flora Sorrell, Mike Banning, Shelley with no last name, Jason Brinkman, Chad Thompson, Dustin with no last name, Benjamin Pearson, Andrew Sowden, Chris McDaniel, Mallory Maynard, Jonathan Winter, Robin Ladwig, Laura McCune, Brittany with no last name, Alexis Terrell, Mandy Olson, Shannon Argueda. What? No. You know what it is? It's, God damn it, that was my phone. Argetta.
You have to have it on.
Jay Sparks, Derek Heflin, Amy Driscoll, Zach Painter, Marquise Munson, Bob Richmond, Michael Gonzalez, James Parbell, Mark Samples, Amanda with no last name, Cortland Fierro, Isabel Kitkin, Nora McIntosh, Callie Leo Leos, Lucille the Drag Queen, Kia with no last name, Carrie Backy Hansen, Morgan Smith, Allie Rose, that is, Josh Roy, Sue Paco, Ashley McKeever, Sam Simmers, Jake Front, Marilyn Rogers, Sam and Rachel Christofferson. Yes. It's hard to say Christofferson. God damn it, I can't have interruptions right now. I'm not turning you off, James. I'm hitting the fucking sound off. There we go. I can turn that off and you're still there, right? Yeah. We're good. All right. Michael Papa. Yes, Michael Papa. Sam and Rachel Christofferson. Michael Papa. Gary Eubank. I'm going to get past those two names. Madison Poletsky. Chris Larkins. Yes. Maria with no last name. Jack Griffin. Shane Spigner. Sarah Bruneski. Randy Diaz. Holly Catherine Jackson. Jennifer Luengrith. Bobby Tournier. Erica Martinez, Jason Williams, Alexandria Ketchpaw. What'd you say?
Tony,
yeah, I think that's right. Matt A., Kimberly Cooey, Ben Merrill, Dustin Cochin, Ruben Lee Racchiero. Never going to get it. Tracy Vaughn, Eric Grisham, Wynn with no last name, Jed Lynch, Jacob Tietke, Heather with no last name, Fritz with no last name, Regina Beth Cole, Eric Paulson, Cody Jaggers, Christian Parrish, The Lion King 34, Ray Harbin, James Weirich, Kat Hawkins, Colin Walker, Marvin Masubo, Mike Clues, Elizabeth Harrell, Amy Lee, Nicholas Myers, Danae Lynn, Miguel Robles, Two Brothers Lawn Service, Kubi with no last name, David Troyer, like Vern Troyer, Stephen Smith, Dissociated Podcast, Lindy with no last name, Justin Getz, Rita Valagiarvi.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Chris Stansel, Megan Cope, Vanessa Fuentes Spradley, Ryan Grillo, Natasha Czar, Louise, Victoria Stilley, Katie Witherington, Justin Roth, Dara Omang, Amanda Gall, Daniel Tavernet, Work Whores, what? Chris Nova, Melissa Knight, Amam Solis, Paul Carper, Music Lost in Thought, Lee Ashburn, Brian Verblau, Leslie Goodwin, Mackenzie Whalen, Shadon Smith, Laura Fallon, Lou with no last name. I hope it's that teacher that I had. Lou. Tracy Becker, Barry Sanderson, Christina with no last name, Tedder with no last name, David Drescher, like Fran, Victoria Peregrine, Kay Fletch, Kimberly Ledford, Sam Coakley, Christina Diambra, Jennifer Mentor, Nathan Balfrey, Shannon Schaefer, Sandy with no last name, Aaliyah Zimines, Rick, nope, that's Nick Rosedower, Marsha Big, Matt Giambruno, Justin Judd, Honey Helms, Matthew Martin, Michael Stewart, Matt Shiflett, Cody Cochran. That's a tough one. Amanda Jacobs, Jed Greig, Amy McFarland, Lucy End, Laura LaCour, John Oaksendahl, Melissa Khaleesi, Cartwright Derdzinski, Dispelbound? I don't know. Somebody didn't leave a name at all. Oh, you know what it was? It was all Chinese letters, and I'm not going to try to read those.
Oh,
so that's part of their email, Dispelbound.
Oh.
Michelle Hayes, I did a creative right. Karen Harris, Samuel Moffat, Heidi Wilson, Justin Scott, Kyle Goynette, Alicia Borjali, Gaia Oliver, Grant with no last name, Dan Lenigan, Latasha Boxley, French toast mashed potatoes. That's disgusting. What the fuck? Bethany Gravel, Tanner Winaki, Bobby Grand, Melano Barrow, Darius A., Nikki Sinfield, Amanda Zilnicki, Don Murray, Libby Baxter, Shannon Baxter, Jason Lewis, Kayla Krusky, Nicholas.
Nicholas? That's the new Pamela there, Nicholas.
Nicholas Vavra.
Nicholas is a very exotic man. Hey, Nick. No, it's Nicholas. As a matter of fact.
Oh, Jesus. Caitlin Stevenson, Sergeant Brannon, Bill Pagano, Joseph, and Bianca Bryant, Arjun, and Big Saint to you and all of our patrons. You guys are truly amazing. Thank you so much. We went out of our way for you, goddammit, because you guys mean something to us, and we want to make sure that we acknowledge it. And thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, so much. Honestly, we cannot thank you enough for all that you do for us. You make the show. Yeah. We'll just put it that way. We don't even care if nobody wanted to put an ad on the show or anything like that, which we would still be doing it just for you, because that's how.
A warm hug, every one of you. Thank you.
Yeah. What if they wanted to give you a warm social media hug? How could they find you?
At Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter and Instagram.
Oh, boy.
And thank you so much.
Yes.
Happy Valentine's Day. What about you?
You can find me over at Jimmy P is Funny, or you can just copy and paste my. You know how to fucking find people on the internet. Yeah. Small Town Murder hosts. You'll find us.
Go love
all
us.
That stuff. With that said, I think it's time to get out of here to celebrate a fantastic Valentine's Day, hopefully in a more romantic way than these folks have chosen to do in our story. What do you say to that? But I think it's time. Until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer.
I can really show you how to make some money.
And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.